Okay, this is introducing the deal presentation part of our meeting. Okay, it's a little early, but let's see if we can get rolling. Does anyone have any deals they'd like to present for sale? Tell us what you're looking for, or oh, okay. Who's out there? Is that JD?
No, he's not here.
No, he's not here. You're going to have a quiet meeting.
Yeah, I was going to say. Does anyone have any deals? Come on up, Justin.
I don't have, I'm sorry, I didn't come prepared. I was running the roads all day today. But I do have, I have a, what do you call it, owner finance deal. It's in New Friars Gate. I posted it on, I haven't put a whole lot of pictures or anything, but I'll put some more pictures tonight on the Midlands REIA Money Mine page. But anyways, it's 103 Bickley Road. It's spelled B-I-C-K-L-E-I-G-H. It's 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's got 2 brand new two air conditioners that are less than 2 years old. And it's got all new windows. I'm getting to it.
No, I'm talking about the air conditioning.
Oh, how much you? Oh, I got you. You're funny. Yeah, it's got about 7 years ago. Had all new windows and a complete kitchen remodel. And the owner wants $135 for it. It's 1,550 square feet. She wants $135. She's asking for $7,000 down and $1,100 a month. And she wants to get paid off within 3 years. So she'll do like a 3-year contract for deed or something like that. So if you had any buyers who are looking for something like that, or if you guys want to do it, my number is 803-220-7405.
Justin, do you have a card?
Yeah, I just gave out a bunch of them, but let me see if I have one.
Can you just say it?
What's that?
Just say it.
My number? Yeah, 803-220-7405. Jesse Stevenson.
They laugh real slow and loud.
7405.
And how much were you after?
$135 and then $7,000 down and $1,100 a month. And she was going to give for every month they pay rent $200 a month towards the principal. That's kind of what she was looking at. So.
Okay, does anyone have any deals they'd like to?
I'll get some more in my.
Does anyone have any deals they'd like to present for sale?
All right.
I'll step up. Sure. One of them.
When he gets
Oh, thank you. All right, I'll try not to obstruct the view this time. Wish me luck. Okay, I figured it out right away. Hi, my name is David. Today we are showing this lovely property right here, 7240 Claudia Drive. It is a big house for the area, 2,100 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. Also in an opportunity zone, which is a really rare find to find such a big house also in an opportunity zone. The house itself, it needs some work, obviously, otherwise they wouldn't be selling it here, they'd be selling it with a realtor. We got about, I'd say roughly $25,000 worth of repairs, mostly drywall stuff. They had some leaks. They fixed the leaks. They did not fix the drywall, so it's kind of moldy. He's got to cut it all out and put some new stuff in there. Also probably needs a new roof and some various external repairs, just make it look nicer. We're asking probably about $62,000. We've got an inspection coming up this Saturday. What's the time on that one? Okay, hold on, I can't find it. 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Thank you, everybody. You've all been a wonderful help. Do you guys want to sign on as assistants? We could use some more. Oh, we don't do that. So the rent in the area is about $1,300. I think it'd make a great rental. You could also flip it too. ARVs we pulled are rough $130 or so, but that you guys need to do your own work, and you all know that. So if you want to come on, stop on by at 11. There's a link there. You can copy that. We've got flyers to hand out over there. If you're looking for something on the retail side, We've got a house for sale that we just put up with a realtor on Thursday. Yeah, right? Thursday, 417 Northwood Street in Earlwood. It's 868 square feet, so it's a little small. But it's beautifully redone. I know because I've worked my ass off on that property. So anyway, take a look if you're looking for that. If you know anyone who's looking for a nice little starter home. If not, we've got flyers for this one.
What's the address on that again?
This one or the 417 Northwood Street. You can find it on Zillow or wherever real estate is sold. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, does anyone else have a deal they'd like to come on up, Franny? You always have a
Good evening, everyone. Pardon my hands, you have to working on my house. So, this house here is 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. It's in Blythewood. Some of you who've been in the group have seen me post this. It's actually, the house is only 9 years old. I have it under contract. We were looking for lenders, partners, or wholesaler, whichever one works best for whoever's in here. AC was replaced in 2015. It's sitting on 5.88 acres, so it's a really large lot. It's about 7 minutes from Lake Carolina. Really, really nice house. ARV is around 235 to 245. We're asking, if we wanted to wholesale it, we're asking 175. Anyone knows Eddie Sabina? He's already walked through the house. He verified it only needs about 10,000 in repairs. Pretty much needs carpet upstairs and needs to be cleaned, and then it needs some landscaping. So, definitely really looking to try to get this one off as quickly as possible. So, if you're interested, please come see me or give me a call. My number is 803-216-1608.
Say that one more time.
Sure, it's 803-216-1608. This is in the Midlands Mastermind group. I posted it there. We do have a house we should be getting under contract tomorrow, and we should be getting it back. It's in West Columbia. That one is 1,100 square feet. ARV is 140. Eddie has walked through that one, so I also have the repair estimate that I can provide to you. That one's about 30 in repair, and we'll probably be asking right around 75 or 80 for that one. It's all brick, sitting on a ½ acre, really close to, so I think it's like 3 miles from downtown in West Columbia. Really good area. If you're familiar with the avenues in West Columbia, it's in that area. So, my name's Crandon, just like Brandon with a C though. The other one is, the second one is 1608 Craps Road.
West Columbia?
Yeah, it's in West Columbia. Okay.
If you have flyers or business cards, be sure to put them under the camera so everyone can. Crandon's really active, so he's running out of all Paul's marketing stuff. Does anyone else have any deals they'd like to present for sale, or maybe a deal they'd like to tell us what you're looking for, or maybe a deal that you just did you'd like to brag? You know, if you brag about your deals, you know, you'd be surprised. More deals come your way. People just want to know who you are and whatnot. Anyone? Come on up.
Hi. My name's Jasmine. We're with Savvy Real Estate Services. We are in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama. It's a new market for us. This little pretty one here is Grovetown, Georgia. Nope, that's super small. Let's try this. I'm trying. Is that better? No, that's still small. Can you get an address on it? And I'll zoom in. Can you see that? All right. 4839 Columbia Road, Grovetown, Georgia. This property is 5,137 square feet. Sits on 3 acres of land. If you are into house hacking, room renting, Airbnb, setting something up for traveling nurses, doctors, airline people, it's directly off of the highway. It is, or was, inhabited by over 4 different families. Can you see that? That's still kind of tiny, isn't it? That way better. Which way? That way? Yeah. Better? All right. Why you didn't say that the first time? What adjusted it? All right. She's cute, but she's gonna need words, so it's not for the faint of heart. Asking is $265. We've already confirmed around 35 in repairs. We asked everyone to come through with your own people, do your own due diligence, run your own numbers. We're reasonable girls. You talked to us about it. It has plot line there. Let me see. Formal living room, formal dining room. It also is a split level. What I don't think this one has is a basement. There's no basement on this one. Pretty large.
The workroom.
Oh, it does have the 2-car garage and then 3-car garage, and then it does have
The workroom.
additional. Can you see that? Yes, no, maybe so.
Balcony.
Balcony here. There's a kitchen. Kitchen did have some water damage. Was a little bit of a leak. They got to it before it started to set. There's mold. He pulled everything up, but then they decided to leave. So that's going to need to be done. Work's going to need to be done on the thing. It's humongous. It's got 4 junior suites. I can't remember the dimensions of the rooms right now. I'm so sorry, but I can shoot you out this property report should you need it. She's cute, but again, not for the faint of heart. Gonna definitely require someone to come in, give it some love. I think that bathroom maybe has some damage on the tile on it in that area there too. I'd like to move this one quicker than slower. It was a little too big from some of my other buyers. So if you're interested, I don't have a card. Give me one. Thank you very much, ma'am. Appreciate you. That's my information. Nope, that's not mine. That's hers. See that there? That's still tiny. People are not blind. Am I blind? Get closer. No? Ma'am? Is that any better? Gosh, no. Just see us.
Someone read that?
We'll give you a card. See, you're not hurting your eyes. All right, thank y'all.
Okay, does anyone else have a deal they'd like to present for sale, or maybe tell us what you're looking for, where you're looking for? Or how about the deal you just did? Bragging about them seems to bring more deals your way.
I'll do a show and tell.
Come on
Finish
up.
one. Okay, like technology is not my friend. So we'll try to. Right? I'm like, I don't even know. So, and I just want to brag too about the REIA. A lot of the stuff that we did came through the REIA. I bought the house from a wholesaler from the REIA. Thank God for Eddie because he took the carpet out because I just couldn't stomach it. Let's see. So just to show you some before pictures, we'll thumb through them real quick. Let's see. That's not, okay, where does it go? Flip it.
You had it right.
Other way? Okay.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. So, really overgrown. Nasty. That was the living room, kitchen, bathroom. That's cat poop, in case you're wondering. That's cat hair. You can't really see it. That's kind of sucky. Yeah. All on the ceiling. That's cat hair down there. It was just, this whole thing fell apart when I touched it, the whole front porch. So we took out all the carpet, clearly. That's the kitchen kind of cleaned up before we, little water damage we had to repair. So that's kind of, that's my dad playing with his new lawn tools. In flip-flops, give him hell if you ever see him. And that's me, my dad. So then let's see it now that it's pretty.
You're looking for, how long did it take you to do?
We've had it for 8 weeks. We only actually worked for 4 because we took a vacation and there was a surgery involved and my dad left for Florida for 2 weeks. But, you know,
That's not bad though.
No, not bad at all. Internet is really slow in here. There we go. Alright. So let's try this again. Are we had it right? Okay, good. We're learning. Alright, so this is it. As you notice, you can actually see the house now. So let's thumb through. So we put new floors in, all the new paint, new fixtures. The kitchen is gorgeous. All new appliances. New kitchen, pretty. New sink, little kitchen nook with a little decorative light there. The rooms, they're all the same.
How much was the renovation?
Only $13,000 is what we spent renovating it. So,
I want your number.
yeah, we do a lot of our own labor and stuff, so it's actually kind of fun for me and my dad.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had master bedroom, no cat hair, master bath, all shiny and pretty. And then the backyard was like totally overgrown, but now it actually has a yard, back porch.
That 13,000, is that include the labor too, or is it just?
Yep, that's us. I mean, we hired out a few people to do some spray stuff in the bathroom. Like I said, Eddie came and saved my bahonkus with the carpets because this lady had animals that she just left in the house, so it was nasty. Bought it for around 78, put 13 in it. It's on the market for 134. So after close, we're looking to profit about 20 to 25. So just so you know, there are people here that buy houses from wholesalers here in the REIA, and we hire people that work in the REIA.
Thanks, Brian. That being the case, there are other REIAs in the area, so be sure to check them out and build your networks. Because you're going to find even more buyers, more sellers, more wholesalers, okay? Is there anyone else who has a deal they'd like to present for sale, or you can tell us what you did or what you're looking for?
All right, I'm Harold. I'm a wholesaler. Been doing it. Been doing it for about a year now. We just closed on a deal back in October on a property for $14,500. Just to let you know that if you're able to talk with the seller, you build rapport, you're able to get the numbers down to where you really need it, where you really want it. This actually was a $19,000 assignment fee, but at the last minute, the buyer gave an excuse why they couldn't pay an extra $5,000, what I was asking for. But anyway, just to say that, you know, there are deals being made here in Columbia. They're not just $2,000 and $3,000 deals. You can actually make deals and do deals here in Columbia. This is a great group. I recommend coming to this group every Thursday.
Well, starting in January, it's going to be every second Monday.
Second Monday.
At the end of this year, it's every second Thursday.
Regardless, get with Bob. Bob is a treasure trove of information, along with Brandon. He's helped me a few times, and everyone's here to help everyone. If you need any help with anything, feel free to ask. Sort of. I don't post a lot of deals here. We try to build a pretty exclusive buyers list that we're able to just submit properties to them, but this is a good group. We've seen deals fly out of this group, so
Post to this group, stay connected with these folks, and you will definitely make deals. Thank you.
Okay, guys, network, keep networking. Is there anyone else who has a deal they'd like to present for sale, or maybe something they recently did, or tell us what you're looking for?
I don't mind showing something off too. Sure.
Okay. Yes.
Let me show you guys a wreck. This one's awful. Truly is. So, this is Judy Street. Some place, I guess you call it the hood. Now, this house, the guy was like, you know what? You can take it. I'll take if you can give me, like, you know, what I owe for it and another $10,000. You can take it off my hands. He lives somewhere else, like Massachusetts, I think. This whole house, he did not realize somebody broke in. And well, he knew someone broke in. He didn't realize how much damage they did. They kicked the crap out of this house. Like, it's just absolutely terrible. He still owed $28,000 on this home. Wow. And that's someone's feet. Look at this. Every wall. Someone broke in. They had a great party. You know, they just went to town on this place. Now, we told them no thank you. We did. There was no way we were going to sell it with what he wanted. We showed him, we reached out and we said, I don't know if you know how bad it is, but here's the pictures we have of it, you know. I wish you the best. He turned around and said, okay, never mind. If you can just take it for what I owe, or if you can have someone take over my payments, then you can have it. It's yours. So we were like, okay. Now we're talking. I still thought, you know what? I don't want to take it on. It's too much work. We have 2 other properties we're rehabbing, and the Northwood one was the other one I was talking about. That one's finally done. That one took months. This one, I wanted to give it away. Anybody who would take it, just so I could help this guy out of a bad situation. So I approached a whole bunch of people. I approached Bob. I approached everybody. And I approached a guy named Freddie. I don't know how many of you guys know about him. And he said, sure, we can handle it. So what we did was we negotiated a very creative deal where we set up a subject to deal. Thanks to this guy's teaching, he taught us how to do it. And we negotiated a way to have one of Freddie's buyers come in and take it subject to. So now they're paying for his payments. This guy thought we were angels sent from God. We came in, we got this house under contract. We talked with him every step of the way. We told him exactly what was going on. And we said, well, we're gonna see what we can do. We're gonna have to reach out to other people. We got somebody. Overall, $6,000 was made off this property when we literally thought we would have to give it away. So, you know, it's possible. Don't look at those ones that are falling apart and think like no one's gonna buy this, because they will. People buy even this house. I was truly amazed. I'd love to show off the rehab we did, but just go to Zillow, you'll find it. If you want some before pics, we've got all sorts of them.
What's the address?
417 Northwood Street. It was a wreck. We had to tear down the walls, we had to replace most of the lumber, everything. But now you can see what we're capable of. I had a big hand in like doing all the finishes, and I'm really proud of it. So take a look.
What about that Judy Street home? How much? That's the house that you were just showing, right?
Yeah.
So how much work?
He owed $28,000. I have no idea because I did not fix that up. I turned it around. I gave it to someone else.
That's the Shakespeare Road area, right? Yeah. And I know some little small houses, and they can use a lot of work.
Little tiny houses. Most of them are boarded up or broken down.
Right.
The buyers, they said, hey, can we start working on it before the contract is, before it's signed off? They said, well, if you want to, I'm not going to say anything about it, but you know, there's buyers out there for everything. So don't turn it down just because it looks like garbage. That's what I'm
What
saying.
zip code area was that in?
223, I think, 29223.
223, yeah. Shakespeare Road there.
Anyway, thanks again to everybody who helped out with that, especially Bob. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have been able to figure out any way to get rid of it.
Yeah, put your card up there. What you do?
Yeah. We buy houses for ourselves. Right now, we're not looking for anything right now. We started literally in July, and since then, we've bought 5 houses. So we're done with that for a little bit. Right now, we're just focusing on getting the deal, the lead portion of it set up and wholesaling as much as possible while we try to buy some more houses a little bit later this year. If you need any cards, we got them. If you need any flyers for that Claudia again, we've got those too. Showing is at 11:30. Claudia Drive. What was the address? 7240. It's also in the Midlands page if you want to take a look at it there. The pictures online are not great because I took them and she did. So see it in person. I promise they're a lot better.
David, we didn't get your phone number, sir.
Oh yeah. That's 864 350 5339. My wife is the one who runs the business. She's sitting back there. And this is her information. I have a full-time job, so she's the one who handles most of this. Her main number is 363-5773. So, you know, reach out to her. The company's Expedite, XPDIT. It's our initials. It's cute.
Okay.
It is.
Right.
It's right.
I agree.
And thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else who has a deal they'd like to present for sale, or maybe something, tell us something what you did, or tell us what you're looking for? Anyone? Okay. Okay, if it's okay, I'm gonna get started here. Can everyone hear me okay? I don't need this one. Because Randy asked this.
Testing, can everyone hear me? Okay.
I'll save this for you, Randy. So, okay. If it's okay, let's get started with the intro and whatnot. And before I get started, I just want to say that my good friend Jim Everett is up here. Jim, I hope you got a sense of humor. Okay? Oh, no. Jim, I do this with all the love in my heart. You're like the brother I never wanted. Okay? I thought about it and I said, you know, I just got to...
Brother from my Asian mother.
Yes. Okay. I think I finished this one.
We're in the right place.
Jim, after this, I owe you an egg roll. Okay. Anyway, this is Midlands REIA. All right. Starting 2020, we're going to meet every second Monday instead of every second Thursday. Hope that's okay with everyone. We couldn't get this every second Thursday. Please silence your phones. And we do ask if your phone goes off, especially while our guest speaker is talking, you put $5 into the oops jar, which Dean Louise has back there. And I believe 15 of those dollars are mine, are they not? So, all means, worst comes to worst, it all goes to charity at the end. We don't pocket the money, okay? Okay, we may capture photos and video. In fact, we're recording right now. Assuming the recording goes okay, I'll put it on the web page and you all can rewind and whatnot if you have time taking notes. And any photos will probably just go into social media, if that's okay with you. Liability disclosure. No one here, well, there's one attorney in the back there, Rich Boland. This is the only attorney I trust up here in the Midlands, okay, by the way, especially with creative deals. So, but other than that, no one here that I know of is licensed as an attorney or a financial planner, okay? So anything here for the most part, except for Rich, is based on personal experience, all right? If you have any question about the wisdom, financially or legally, of what's going on up here, contact someone like Rich who's actually qualified to give advice in this area. Okay, one of our goals for 2019 was to drastically increase the rate of success. Nationwide, the rate of success of even doing a single deal is only about 3%. All right, and that's nationwide. I understand Columbia is a little bit higher. At the Christmas party next month, I'd like to get a true tally of how many people started coming to these associations in 2019 and started doing deals. Be wary of the expensive coaching programs on your credit cards. Now, any coaching program that really stresses you and you have to put on credit cards and whatnot that you can't afford, think twice. You don't need to spend a lot of money to learn how to do this business in the beginning. Now, if you want to go into coaching afterwards, make the money first. Don't throw yourself heavily into debt. Like, for example, Brent Marino has a very affordable coaching program. In my opinion, it's like $4,000. Okay? There's some people here, even locally, charging $25,000. That's nuts. You don't need that. You know, Brent and Brandon Barnes, he's come here before. He has like a mastermind that's a month-to-month basis, so you're not heavily in debt. Okay? So think of what you're doing before you go out to gurus. Like, in fact, Zurich's, they used to front for Tarek and Christina, you know, those guys. I guess Hillary Farr, the realistic lady, they got shut down by the Federal Trade Commission. Okay, there's a reason for that. They suck. Okay, so guys, watch where you spend your money. Our goal was to increase the success rate to at least 20%, preferably a lot more. For the beginners, we want to get you up and running as soon as possible, independently of anyone else. We'd love for you to stick around and still associate with us. At the same time, we'd like you to be able to go on your own should you so choose to do so. Okay? So we don't want you to have to depend on anybody once you get going, that is. For the advanced investors who decide to stick around, our goal is to provide the best possible resources we can. We're always open to suggestions. What can we improve? Now, the low success rate, I think, is because it's a very low barrier of entry to get into this business the way we do it. You know, it's easy to do things. If you're not disciplined, it's easy to not do them. Okay? If you do some disciplined things regularly, ultimately it's going to end up as a success. But if you keep on doing erratic things that don't work, okay, or just, you know, erratic stuff that even works, you're ultimately going to fail. Now you take a look at that timeline there. Success and failure were very similar. Somewhere along the line, you didn't have that big breakthrough. You just have to keep at it. Don't give up, guys. You can always give up any time. Why give up now? Okay. Okay, any good club or association will offer an abundance of resources, provide great networking, give the best training possible, and always seek to improve and adapt, as well as learn and teach the best practices for local investing. What works here may not work outside of the area, or may not work as well. Okay? For example, Airbnbs may be working here now, but in Charleston, I understand the city of Charleston has pretty strict regulations governing short-term rentals. Okay, here we offer discounts to national vendors and supply houses, discounts to Midlands REIA trainings and workshops, and actually, since a lot of this is internal, a lot of this is free, so to the members. Non-members, we ask maybe a nominal fee to help defray some costs. No door fee to the general meetings for annual members. Access to the members area with local cash buyers. So when you hear gurus out there saying, I'm going to sell you a local cash buyers list for like, what's a local cash buyers list cost? Like $1,000? Something like that? Don't do it. Okay, we have your local cash buyers here. And we're always, I say, we're almost always updating regularly. I stopped updating from a couple months ago. Okay, so, but we still have at least 50 cash buyers. Also, close guidance for deals. That's for Midlands REIA only. That's not national. Now, the closed guidance, think of our association as a library. Okay, we're just librarians here. Like Dean Louise is a good librarian. Andy Holland's a volunteer librarian. I'm just a librarian. Okay, you know you can always access us. All right. I mean, just do it at a reasonable hour. And more benefits. Okay. We're always open to suggestions on how to improve. We're always open to what workshops you want to see, what topics you want to see introduced, and subgroups, okay? For the mortgage notes, people here, I apologize. I intended to have one last night. I was sick, so if it's okay, we're going to have it the week after Thanksgiving, okay? The Wednesday after Thanksgiving. If nothing else, we are on social media, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. But if nothing else, this link here will take you to our Money Mastermind group, is where a lot of deal flipping is going on. If you have a deal, and it's truly a deal, you'll see like 6, 7, 8 people jump on it. If it's not a deal, you won't get much interest. And this is how you access the cash buyers list, because every month I get 1 or 2 people saying, how do you get to the cash buyers list? This here, this menu does not pull down until you log in. Until you log in, all you're going to see is log in, log out. Once you log in, it pulls down the entire list. The cash buyers, you just click there, and you get the cash buyers list, okay? As well as you get document templates and whatnot, all right? If anyone has any problems with that, just give me a call. I'll step you through it. Okay, membership. Okay, we're asking $125 a year for a single, $200 for a couple. Free entrance, all benefits. Non-members, the first visit is free, but there's a door fee afterwards, $20 at the door. Okay, no benefits. And you can apply tonight's, if you're thinking of joining, you can apply tonight's door fee to your membership. Now that being the case, I suggest you not sign up for this and check out the other REIAs. Some of the other REIAs are free. In fact, we have one of the co-organizers back there, Rick. Some of the other ones are free. You might be able to find all the contacts and knowledge you need for free. Why'd you spend money if you get it free, right? A few announcements. Okay, Dean Louise, can you talk about your book? Every month we have Dean Louise's Book Corner. These are some really good books. I hope you all are reading these.
So this book is by John C. Maxwell, Intentional Living, and it helps you if you're feeling like your life is aimless, not sure where you're going. Maybe you have a little structure, but you're just not sure overall where you want to be in 10 years. This book can help you figure that out. It helps you to find purpose and to, instead of just feel like you're aimlessly floating through life, actually have some intention and put some purpose into your life. Palmetto Civitan Club.
Well, actually, that's at the very
Is that
end.
enough?
Yeah, that's the slide at the end.
Okay, that's beforehand. Okay. All right. Palmetto Civitan Club, we meet
Every first and third.
yeah, but not at San Jose.
This one here, I saw it pop up in my email, maybe San Jose.
There is, it's a special recruiting meeting, November. Is it this
Yeah,
November, next Tuesday?
November
The 19th, November 19th. It will be at San Jose. We're going to have fun and games and networking, get to know each other. If you want to find out what the Palmetto Civitan Club is all about, what we do, join us next Tuesday evening at San Jose from 6 to 7:30. If you have any questions about it, come and see me. We are an organization that is, our primary goal at the moment is we're raising money for an after-school program for special needs kids, and it will be integrated with traditional developed kids. But we have fundraisers, we have special events. We're working with the Special Olympics, and we've sponsored a couple, group homes, a couple group homes. We take them out on picnics. We're doing a Christmas party for the 2 homes. One is women and one is men. And so we've got a lot of civic projects going on. And if you would like to become a member, just come see one of us, okay?
Okay, this is the Mike Green Technology Minute. Mike Green actually came up with the idea. He's a West Columbia City Councilman. He said, why don't you introduce a website that might help people that's either free or very low cost. This one happens to be free. 1 million cups, basically for 1 million cups of coffee. It gives a location of entrepreneurial and networking events. We have a great one down on Richland Avenue, downtown Columbia. It meets 9 to 10 in the morning every Wednesday. There they give business presentations. Now there's something called a mated session. There's some very valuable lessons here. One of the best ones I saw was a couple. They sold a health information technology company that they started locally here to some big multinational company in Europe, and they pocketed a little over $28 million. Okay, so there's some serious players here. If you want to network with some really good business people, consider going to this. It's free to attend, you get free coffee and donuts, that's really why I go. And networking with great folks, okay? So consider 1 million cups, check out the next meetings, they're free, you know? Also, just a reminder, to see our calendar events at midlandsrea.com. If you can't remember what all's coming up this coming month, okay, we try to keep this updated as much as possible. Okay, for example, on November 15th, and it would be tomorrow, Sarah, the Legal Shield representative, the regional manager who's supposed to present 6 to 6:30 tonight, she was sick, so I had to present, but she's actually holding a breakfast and lunch tomorrow, all right? It's free breakfast and free lunch for the first-time visitors. So she's going to, there's going to be networking as well as some education about Legal Shield and Go Small Biz. That's also going to be repeated on November 18th and on the 21st is the Ladies of Justice Luncheon. Okay, Sarah's very big on advocating for women's rights. So that might be a good one to go if you're a woman. I'm not allowed to go. But anyway, so again, check the calendar of events if you have questions where these things are. Women in real estate. Stacy Pinkney. Is Stacy here? Okay, Stacy, would you like to say something about this?
Of course. Hello, I am Stacy Pinkney, for those who don't know who I am yet. I'm a local wholesaler, and I have been able to host the Columbia Women in Real Estate meetings. We meet every third Saturday at the Panera Bread on Bower Parkway from 5 to 7. And we're trying to stick to that schedule, but so far we have been able to. But it's just almost like a subset of this REIA group. A lot of the women in here attend the Columbia Wire, but it's just a group for women in real estate, whether it's investing or agents or mortgage lenders or contractors, whatever you do, if it can help our business, you're welcome to join us, ladies. Sorry, fellas, you know. But please invite your wives or any other women that you may know that may be interested in networking. And we try to have a little subject matter every month that we talk about. And we would love to have you to join us. It's free. Everything's free other than your food. When you get there, you're welcome to order. But it's just something that I like to do to bring us closer together, and we just network, talk about some of the things we have going on, and learn. So please feel free to join us. We're actually meeting Saturday on the 17th, again from 5 to 7 at Panera Bread on Bower Parkway. So look forward to seeing you ladies there. Thank you.
Thanks, Stacy. Stacy is definitely a pleasure. You might want to consider going if you have the compatibility with the schedule. Okay, Columbia Real Estate Investors Association. They normally meet every fourth Thursday of the month, but the fourth Thursday being Thanksgiving, it's going to be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, November 27th. Rick Renner back there is one of the co-organizers. Would you like to say anything about that, Rick?
Other than the fact it's not going to be on Thursday night, that's about the biggest. Don't come on Thursday night.
Okay. But anyway, that's a great group of people as well. So I would consider attending that one. That's seasoned investors as well as, of course, a few newbies. But someone like Rick who has a lot of experience, you can learn something from him. And again, just a reminder to see our calendar of events. Again, as to when and where these events are occurring. Okay, now, in December, we don't have a speaker or anything. We typically have like an ugly sweater party. Okay, there are prizes given out, and the attendees, by clapping and screaming and stuff, determine who wins. So we're gonna have prizes given out. So wear your ugly sweaters.
It's by paper ballot. It's by paper ballot.
It's paper ballot.
It's paper ballot.
Okay, paper ballot. My bad. Okay.
No, the voting's done by paper ballot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a Sign Up Genius. Potluck went really well last year. We had a ton of food. So this year we're going to set up a Sign Up Genius. We'll send an email out with the link, and everybody just goes to there, and you can pick out which one you want to sign up for, which thing. And we'll try to break it out so it's not like onerous or anything like that. You know, a 2-liter of soda, a gallon of sweet tea, something like that. If you want to bring store-bought, that is fine. Made from a restaurant, that is fine. This is not a contest of who's the best cook, okay? We just want to have a good time and want there to be something other than pizza there.
Well, I was going to say, you didn't want pizza, but I guess that pretty much rules that out.
Well, people usually bring pizza. There will be pizza there, because people will bring pizza.
Where is it?
Thank you.
It'll be here.
Yeah,
It'll be here.
it's the
Same time, same place.
Yeah. By the way, you know, Blair, you were talking about the cat food?
Yeah.
You know, when I was a kid, I accidentally ate cat food.
That's not surprising.
As Dean Lewis was saying, don't have to do that.
I'm gonna let you mark your dish.
Anyway, okay. Okay, now, let's talk a little bit about privacy. Why you want to keep your name out of the public record. Okay, this guy, if you go to the Aiken County, I just pulled this up today, all right? This is a guy named George Zachman. Okay, George is one of the more prolific landlords in the Aiken area. I don't know why, he always buys properties in his personal name. At one time, he had over 220 properties in his personal name. I had lunch with George maybe some years back, and I said, you know, I think you're nuts. And he said, don't worry, I have insurance. That's my first line of defense. Well, that's fine if you have an issue on the property. But let's say you get in a car accident. And let's say someone dials 80309s, and someone pulls up that George owns all these properties. He's lawsuit bait. All right? Anyway. Tonight, we have someone who has the cure for that, Randy Hughes. Randy's been a full-time real estate investor since he's 69. He probably has forgotten more than I've ever learned. He taught real estate classes at the college level, and he's been a licensed continuing ed instructor for the Illinois Association of Realtors for over 25 years, and he's also a national speaker and trainer on land trusts and privacy and building wealth, including with asset protection. If you could, please give him a warm Midlands welcome, Randy Hughes. Hey, Mark.
Do you have,
Honey. Do you have a clicker?
in my luggage?
Okay. I have a clicker. Hopefully it'll work.
Okay.
So
Let's put that in first.
should just be able to pull this.
Yeah.
All right. We're just going to close that. I'll work on that later. Okay.
This.
Okay. You have a HDMI?
It's on that side.
Okay.
Want me to hold that for you now?
Oh, could you? Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Don't shake it.
I'll take it down. Yeah, thanks, Bob. I'm plugging that in.
Sure.
All right. Let's see if she works.
Oh, did I just pull that? Oh, wrong one. Sorry, guys.
Oh, that was the. Yeah.
Okay.
boss.
Yeah, I know. Ah, sad, sad. Thank you.
No problem.
Math? That's all 4 of my courses are. Audio, video, everything. Is that cool?
Yes.
USB key.
You know, in retrospect, maybe we should have had that loaded onto my thing.
Well, not all computers will play audio and video
Oh,
in PowerPoint, and that's why I usually use mine.
okay, gotcha. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, this,
Yeah.
is that USB?
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Great. Okay, and up and down,
All right,
laser
thank you.
pointer.
All right, thank you for your patience. Wow. This is the 32nd time I've spoken to a group like you guys this year. And every single time there's something goes wrong
Randy, do you need the mic?
electronically. Yeah, I think that would help. Is it up here? So, you know, as far as the electronics go, not too bad. My luggage still isn't here. I flew into Charlotte, and then I was supposed to catch a plane down here. They canceled the flight down here. So I rented a car and drove down, but my luggage didn't make it. All right. How's that? A little better? Yeah. Good, good, good. Okay. I came all the way from Champaign, Illinois. Anybody ever heard of Champaign, Illinois? Station. You were stationed there, all right.
From Decatur.
For a couple. Decatur, yeah. To talk to you about a very important subject. You know, Bob and his crew are really good at teaching you guys how to make money. That's why you're here tonight. You can be doing something a lot more fun, but you're here because you're serious about making money. I'm here to talk to you about how to keep that money. Because it's one thing to make money, it's a whole different thing to keep it long term. And I'm going to tell you some real life stories, things that have happened to me and have happened to my students over the last 20 years that I've been teaching this information, that will hopefully scare you into never owning real estate in your name again. I would not own a piece of real estate if I had to have my name on the deed. It's just too risky. I've learned that over the years. I call it the cornerstone of financial security because if you don't learn how to protect your assets as you're acquiring them, somebody may come along and just take them away from you. Unfortunately, there's a whole segment of our society now that doesn't really want to work hard for their money. They want to sue and get it from you, right? And there's nothing worse than working 5, 10, 20 years to build up wealth and then to lose it. That's pretty depressing. So that's what I'm here for, is to offer you an opportunity to learn how to protect those assets as you're going down the road. There's my standard disclaimer, which you probably can't read, but it basically says I'm not a lawyer and I'm not an accountant giving any legal or tax advice. I know we've got one lawyer in the crowd tonight. We have any more? He just stepped out. Oh, great. I can tell my lawyer. Any accountants, CPAs? Okay. When you get a chance, could I have a water, a glass of water or something, please? Thank you. So you're about to discover how protecting your assets can actually cut the cost of your deals. In other words, you're going to make more money if you use a trust to hold title than doing it in your own name. We all want to make more money for every deal. I mean, you're already putting the deal together. You might as well make a little extra money while you're doing it. Make bigger profits Eliminate the risk of selling notes or contracts. Are any of you investing in notes? Okay, we got a couple. So note investors, good. Contracts. Buying contracts, selling contracts. You know, these clubs are great to come to with a contract. I call them bird dogs, people that are really good at finding deals and negotiating, but for whatever reason they can't or don't want to close the deal. So they come to a meeting like this and say, hey, I got this great deal over on Vine Street. It's got 20 grand of equity, give me 5 grand tonight, and I'll assign my contract to you. You've heard about that. It's a good way to make money in this business. Another great way of making money in this business is buying houses low and selling them on a contract to people who can't qualify for a bank loan. There are a whole lot of really good people in America today that can't qualify for a bank loan. They got caught up in 2008, maybe you got a lien or judgment against them. Their credit score's too low, not enough down payment. Self-employed. Less than 2 years, you don't qualify, right? Maybe they're in the cash business. They don't qualify. So there's a huge market out there for you to make money on by negotiating a great deal on the price of a house, marking it up, and selling it on a contract where you get as much down payment as you can. They make monthly payments to you, and you make monthly payments to your bank. How do you think banks got so rich? That's all they do. They finance houses. And you can do the same thing. The problem there, the risk factor is, what do you do if they stop making payments? Well, if you don't use a trust, you foreclose. How long does it take to foreclose here in South Carolina?
5 years.
5 years. Well, I just helped a guy in my town who did not take my advice, and he sold on a standard contract sale. He sold the house to a buyer on a standard contract sale. Didn't use a trust, and consequently, we had to foreclose. It took a year and $10,000 in legal fees to get that house back. So you can, you can lose a lot of profits doing that. The way you solve that problem, the way I've solved it over the years, is I use a trust. And I don't sell the house, I sell the trust. And the beneficial interest in a trust is personal property, not real estate. Isn't that interesting? It's like the chairs you're sitting in. Have you ever bought a car or truck and financed it at the bank? They hold the title, right? Until you make almost all the payments? All the payments. What happens if you don't make every last payment? They repossess. That's what I do if you default buying my house. I repossess, I don't foreclose. Now that was worth coming for tonight. If you don't believe anything else I said, that was worth coming for, okay? It takes me about 30 days to cancel the contract and repossess the trust. And I can do it myself. So I don't have legal fees, and I can resell the house again. That is a good one. Okay. Anybody in here got an LLC? Sure, everybody and their mother's got an LLC, right? And I believe in LLCs. I've got LLCs for my business too, but not to hold the title. That's the problem, that where you're getting advice from people that set your LLCs up for you. They say, oh yeah, let's put those 10 houses in the LLC. Well, let's really look deep at that. Let's see how smart that is. Can't I look up who owns an LLC? Unless you form that LLC in Wyoming, to my knowledge, it's the only state that doesn't publish the owners of LLCs. I can look up who owns it. So there goes your anonymity, right? Now, didn't Grandma and Grandpa teach us that you don't put all your eggs in one basket? Same difference. You don't put all your real estate in one entity. Here's why. Let's say you got 10 rental houses and you put them all in one LLC. There's a problem, a lawsuit occurs on one of those properties, you get sued, you lose, they get a judgment against the owner. Who's the owner? The LLC. Kind of sounds like you lost 10 properties instead of one. That doesn't seem very smart. So I teach real estate investors to put each property into a separate trust. A basic tenet of asset protection is separation of assets. And that's how we do it, is with a trust. Now, I'll give you a diagram in a few minutes here, but those trusts will flow down to an LLC. I still use the LLC, but as the beneficiary of the trust. You can't look up who owns a trust. There's no registry for trust. I get calls probably one a week now. Used to only be like one every couple of years. Now I get one a week. Hello, is this the South Carolina Land Trust? No, this is Randy. Well, I looked up on the internet and it said you were the trustee for the, I said, no, if you type in Mr. Land Trust, you get my number. And that's why you're talking to me, but why do you want to know? Well, they've got an old car sitting across the street and I need to talk to it. Or I want to put an offer in on it. Or I want to complain about something and I want to talk to the owner. I said, well, too bad, you can't. The only thing you can do is send a letter to the address on the deed, and if they want to respond to you, they will. And if they don't, they won't. And boy, every time I get that call, I think, this is the reason why we use trust. It solves a lot of problems and keeps a lot of crap out of your life. So we're going to use those LLCs for sure. Is that water still coming? Melting down some snow outside? Thank you. Avoid frivolous lawsuits. Does anybody want to admit to being involved in a frivolous lawsuit? Well, I'll admit to almost being involved in one. And here's a real life story, happened to me. In the year 2000, I sold a house that was in a trust that my wife and I, my two daughters lived in. 6 months after closing, I got a letter from the buyer's attorney. It said my client had to replace some wood flooring, one of the air conditioners went out, and all the toilets in the house. And if you'll just send us a check for $8,000, we won't sue you. Well, wait a minute. You're telling me I'm responsible for maintenance after I sell the property? What's going on here? It's a scam. It's intimidation. They just send these letters out, and most people get intimidated by it and send in $8,000 checks because they don't want to be sued. That's a great way to make money if you're unscrupulous. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. But I wasn't going to play the game. So I sent him a letter back and I said, dear Mr. Lawyer, I would suggest you check your files before you threaten to sue somebody. I was not the owner. Did you see my name on anything? Did you see it on the deed? How about the seller disclosure? How about the MLS listing agreement? How about the HUD-1? How about the termite report? Did you see my name on anything? And he sent me a letter back. So, well, no, as a matter of fact, I didn't see your name on it, but my client said you lived there. Some people in America live in houses they don't live in, right? Oh, Mr. Tough Guy goes on to say, and if you'll just send us, either send us $8,000 or tell us who the owner was, we won't sue you. Just mind-boggling. And I'm responsible for maintenance after closing. So I sent him one letter back. I said, I don't know who the owner was. I think it's some kind of a trust. It's kind of complicated. I don't understand. You know. My last sentence said, good luck. And you know what happened? Nothing. What does that tell you? Nothing happened. No response. Here's the reason why. The lawyer and his attorney, or his client had this conversation. Well, Bob, this guy ain't going to be as easy as screw as the last 5 people we sent this letter to. What do you want to do? And Bob said, I don't want to spend some money wasting time chasing some trust. Let's just go sue somebody that owns real estate in their name. And that's what they did. So the next time someone tells you that a trust doesn't protect your assets, yeah, technically that's true. They're not designed to protect your assets, but just by not owning this stuff in your name stops a whole lot of this crap. if I had my luggage here, I would pull out my newspaper that just came about 2 weeks ago, about 50 pages of my newspaper. Every piece of real estate in my county is listed in the newspaper with the assessed value and the owner's name. So let's say I'm wanting to make some easy money. I just pull out the old newspaper, I go down there and I say, well, wait a minute, Bob Smith, he owns a lot of property here in town. His name keeps popping up. And there's the legal description, so I know where it's at. I may just slip a ball there tomorrow. That's how the game's played. That's how it works. Now, let's say that I run over George's dog.
No, please.
I run over at George. And George goes to his lawyer and says, I want to sue Randy Hughes for $1 million. He ran over my dog. Now, George's lawyer turns to his computer, and the first thing he's going to do is what's called an asset search. They will investigate whether or not you're worth suing. Did you ever notice lawyers don't sue poor people? Why is that? Even if they got a good case, they're not going to sue a poor person. And no, they won't get paid. So he types in the computer, Randy Hughes. And if the printer starts printing page after page of real estate addresses that I own, George's attorney turns to him and says, hey, George, I think we got a pretty good case here. And they're off and running, so now let's change it a little bit. I went over to the dog, he goes to his lawyer and says, I want to sue Randy Hughes, and he types in my name and the printer doesn't budge. Nothing. Now, George's attorney says, George, I'm not so sure we got a good case. So I tell you what, I'll be glad to sue Randy Hughes. Just get your checkbook. It's only $10,000. I want you to write to my escrow account. And every month I'm going to send you a letter saying how many hours I chased Randy Hughes. And when I run out of 10 grand, I'll just ask for another 10. That's all right, George, you want to do that? You think George will sue me? Probably not. He'll probably just go get a new dog. Right? That's how the game's played. Now, lawyers will sue trusts if there's a lot of money involved, but they don't like to because they don't know the horsepower behind the trust. Since you don't know who the beneficiary is, it may just be little old Randy Hughes, or maybe big corporation has got a legal department waiting to sue him back. So they think twice before they sue. So just by not owning this stuff solves a whole lot of your problems in life. And it helps you avoid these frivolous lawsuits. So what's the tool of a smart real estate investor? Just a few pieces of paper. Don't let it intimidate you. A title holding trust, a land trust, whatever you want to call it, it's a trust. A grantor revocable trust. No tax return, no FEIN number, no registered agent. What's it cost for your South Carolina LLCs? What's your annual?
Well, it's $125 to start one, but there is zero cost for renewal. But that's if you do an S corp, then there's a fee.
So your registered agent doesn't charge you anything annually?
No.
Wow.
Not as an LLC, but an S corp, they'll charge you.
Well, a trust costs nothing. Zero to start, zero annual. No tax return, nothing. So that's why we can put each property in a separate trust, because if you're very active in this business, you're going to have a whole lot of property. And it's going to get too expensive to put each one in a separate LLC. It costs you nothing to put them in these trusts.
Randy, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, sir.
I have my LLC in another state, and I was advised to do that so in the event you get sued, you're not so easily found. Now, how accurate is that information?
Well, it's...
and it costs a lot more than $125.
Yeah. Yeah. How many people in here have single-member LLCs? Were they formed in one of the following states? Delaware, Wyoming, or Nevada?
Mine's in Nevada.
Nevada, okay. If they were formed in one of those three states, you have asset protection.
Yeah.
If they were not, you might as well not even have an LLC.
Yeah.
The courts have been blowing through single-member LLCs unless you form it in one of those three states which has charging order protection.
What are the three states again?
Nevada, Wyoming, and Delaware. And you can Google, look up what charging order protection means. We don't really have time to get into it tonight. But in answer to your question, sir, yeah, I mean, think of it this way. Here's what's really interesting about these trusts. There's no federal land trust law. It's all state by state. Some states, in my opinion, have better laws than others. Only 6 states have an actual land trust statute, but they're legal in all states. I, for one, think that it's best to form your trust in a state that has an actual statute. So, for example, you could form a Florida land trust that has a statute to hold title to your real estate here in South Carolina and have the beneficiary your Wyoming or Nevada LLC. Oh my gosh, what a mess, huh? You got 3 different states' laws going on there. That's a mess for them to figure out, your adversary, but it's not for you because you put it together. It's pretty easy for you to understand. So you might want to consider that. See, what's cool about the land trust statute in Florida is they amended it about 3 years ago, and it says, in so many legal words, it says you can't sue the trustee and you can't sue the beneficiary of the land trust. You can only sue the trust and whatever assets inside that. Well, that's pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful. I also like Florida and Virginia trust law because they don't require any duties of the trustee. I don't want my trustee to do anything. Certainly not touch money, not insure the property, not deal with the tenants. I just want her to hold the title for me and sit in the corner for 20 years until I'm ready to sell that house. Some states, like Wisconsin, require duties of your trustee. Yes, sir?
I tried to do some research a while back about Alaska Trust and compared with South Carolina. What I found out was there are certain aspects in South Carolina trust law that give you some comfort of Alaska's code with their trust, a state also, to a certain extent though.
Yeah, and you're talking a little bit different trusts there. Those are personal property trusts. They can get pretty deep and pretty expensive. Ohio and Nevada and Alaska all try to one-up each other when it comes to making their laws better. And I do teach, I have a basic land trust course and an advanced land trust course, and the advanced trust course gets into personal property trusts. For your car, your boat, your motorcycle, your shotgun, your hammer, anything you're going to loan to the neighbor and he's going to cut his finger off with and sue you, you put each thing in a separate personal property trust. But yeah, you're right there. So how do we do this? What do we need to form a trust? How difficult is it? We need 2 things, a trust agreement and a deed. That's all. Now, the trust agreement is the contract between the trustee and the beneficiary. The deed is very similar to what you're used to. It's like a warranty deed, but it's got a little extra language in it, and that extra language says, among other things, that the beneficial interest in this trust is personal property. Remember we talked about that. That's where it gets designated as personal property, in that trust agreement and in the deed. So think of it this way. They had to build this hotel first before they brought in the furniture. So we build the hotel first here, and we bring in the furniture there. Make sense? We need 2 people to do this, a trustee and a beneficiary. Now, most real estate investors are going to make the beneficiary of their trust the LLC, like this gentleman. Why? Just because you put your real estate into a trust doesn't mean there's no more liability on that property. The liability flows through to the beneficiary. That's why you need that LLC at the beneficiary level. Okay? And that's why the guy that had 200 houses that Bob was talking about, or 200 properties, and just relied on insurance, became a big loser. I think you ought to have insurance. But I also think you should read those policies because there's a whole lot of exemptions in there they don't cover. It seems like every time I have a claim, it's one of those exemptions. Oh no, paragraph F, we don't cover that. So insurance is just one leg of the stool, of your asset protection stool. Trustee can be anybody. Doesn't have to be a lawyer, doesn't have to be an accountant, doesn't have to be insured, bonded, no education, no licensing requirement, no continuing education requirements. Anybody on the planet can be your trustee.
Not the LLC.
I would not make your LLC your trustee. And I wouldn't do that for a couple reasons, probably three. First off, if you're the sole owner of the LLC and you're the sole beneficiary, or your LLC is you're the sole owner of the LLC that's a beneficiary, there's a principle under the law called merging of interest. And it says you can't have a contract with yourself. And that's what you're doing. But beyond that, I wouldn't do it because at some point you're going to need that trustee to sign something. A deed, because you're selling the property. Or a mortgage, because you're financing the property. And you're going to have to prove to somebody, the buyer's attorney, the closing agent, title company, that you have the authority to sign on behalf of that entity. How are you going to do that? You've got to trot out your operating agreement. I'm not giving anybody my operating agreement unless they sue me. And it's 350 pages, my operating agreement. Just another line of defense. It probably cost you $5 grand to have your attorney read it, understand it, and explain it to you. So I don't want to expose my operating agreement, and it's just so much easier to have individuals as trustees because all they have to do is get a notary, sign that deed, and they're in business. Makes your life easy.
Has to be an adult?
It does have to be somebody of age. Right. A minor could be your trustee, but they can't convey title, which could be a technique. You've all got that. Okay, I said I speak a lot to groups just like yours. I get asked a lot of the same questions, and please ask all the questions you want to. But we'll probably only have time. I want to cover the 12 key questions tonight. This booklet I wrote has over 50 reasons to use a trust. And if you want to, you can text to that number and get an electronic version. Or, I'm going to pass around this piece of paper, give me your name and email address, and I'll email that to you tomorrow so you can get a free copy of that book. Okay? Yeah, just be sure to give me your email address legibly so I can type it in, okay? Everybody done with that? No? Okay, we good? What can we put in these trusts? What kind of real estate? See, it's kind of a misnomer when people say land trust, and then there's the implication, well, I can only put land in there, raw land. That's not the case. You can put all kinds of real estate in these trusts. Any and every kind of real estate or real estate related, contract, option, notes, mortgages, air rights, mineral rights. I had a guy call me last year from Kentucky, and he said, Randy, I want to get your home study course and learn how to create land trusts. I said, great, what are you going to do with it? He said, I've got 1,500 oil and gas leases in Kentucky. The problem is some of them go boom and some of them go bust. So if I put them all in one entity, it could be a problem. He said, I want to buy your course and learn how to create land trusts. And he did, and he created 1,500 land trusts. Put each lease in a separate trust. Smart guy. I mean, he could afford to hire an attorney to do that. It would cost him a fortune. For my home study course is $597. He created 1,500 land trusts. So that worked out really well for him. Who can create a land trust? Well, again, it's kind of like the trustees in this situation. No, there's no licensing requirement. Anybody, if you have an LLC, it can do it. Individuals, partnerships, anybody and everybody, including you, can create trust. Now, I wouldn't suggest you create trust for other people unless you're a lawyer, but you can do it for yourself all day, every day. Okay? Why use a trust to make more money? Well, you get privacy and asset protection. You make greater profits. They're excellent when you combine them with the LLC. Remember I said make the LLC the beneficiary? They're free. That's the best idea. The best reason. And you can do it yourself with my personal instruction in the forms. The forms I provide you in my homesteading course are all the forms you'll ever need the rest of your life to run these trusts. Yes, ma'am.
With those land trusts, is it okay to only have one LLC, or do you still need multiple LLCs? I've heard people say to create a LLC per property, that type of thing. So do these land trusts kind of take that place?
It kind of does, yes. I mean, in a perfect world, yeah, you'd have, if you had 100 properties, you'd have 100 LLCs all formed in Wyoming. But, you know, who can do that? It's too expensive, it's too much paperwork, too much annual fees. So that's why we use the trust, because there is no registry, you don't know who owns it, and there's no annual fee, or no creation fee either. What did you pay to set up your Wyoming LLC?
$1,200.
Or Nevada? $1,200?
I just renewed it, it cost me $600.
$600 to renew, $1,200 to start. See, if you're going to be very active in this business, like I said, you're going to own a lot more than one or two pieces of real estate. So you've got to come up with a way that's not going to cost you.
So if I had 100 properties, 100 land trusts, but one LLC as the beneficiary of them all?
You could. Now, I just helped a friend of mine in my town buy 145 houses from one individual. And he came to me and he said, you know, I know I got a big problem here. What should I do? So I helped him create 145 land trusts, and every 25 or 30 flowed down to a series LLC. And that was just arbitrary. It could have been 40, or it could have been 50. It was just arbitrary. And we ended up with like 6 series LLCs. So if you're not familiar with the series LLC, Google it. They're kind of cool. So, yeah, I think at some point maybe 10 properties down to one, 10 to another.
Thank you.
Who's not using this profit and privacy tool? Well, those folks that put their name on the deed. Now I know probably almost everybody in here has real estate in their name right now. You still benefit. Yeah, there'll be a record that one day you owned it, but you need to get it out of your name as quick as you can. And once you do that, it'll look like you sold it. But get it out of your name for all the right reasons. I mean, you ever hear the story about grandma? She's got her son living in the basement, and she wants to help him out, and before she dies, she puts the son on the title with her, not knowing that the son owes the IRS back taxes of 50 grand. So the IRS liens mom's house, and mom loses her house. You see, you can't go on the title. You can't do it. It's too darn dangerous. And for God's sake, don't go on a title with somebody else. Here's the reason why. In 1985, I bought a shopping center with a friend of mine. In the year 2000, he moved out of Illinois to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Became a very successful real estate developer. Made millions of dollars. Until when? Thank you. 2008. Then he started losing millions of dollars. Last time I talked to him, he said he had $22 million of liens and judgments against him. Hard to fathom, isn't it? I was only concerned about one. So, about 3 years ago, I am sitting at my desk. I get an email every week of liens and judgments in my town. Sit at my desk, look at my computer, sip on my coffee, think of life is wonderful. And I look on the report of liens and judgments, and whose name do I see? My friend. A bank in Florida has filed a lien in Champaign, Illinois for $3.2 million. He hasn't lived there for 15 years. What are they doing? They're looking for assets. They want their money back. They thought, well, 15 years ago he lived up there. Maybe he still owns something up there in his name. We'll go up there and attack it. And I sat back and I thought, oh my God, did I just dodge a bullet? If I hadn't insisted on putting that property in a trust back in 1985, I would have just lost everything because of something he did. Now, that's a bad day when you go home and tell your spouse or significant other, hey, honey, we just lost everything today because of something somebody else did. That's how serious this is, guys. I'm talking serious stuff here. You want to work a lifetime and lose it? Keep on putting your name on those deeds, because it'll happen to you. Weird stuff happens in this life. Yes, sir.
Okay, and you know how the government always talking about transfer of wealth? This is a part of it, the trust estate. When people don't have the proper estate structure, the wealth passed by them. They don't even see, the economic difference and stuff in their estate.
You're exactly right. And one of the benefits of using these trusts is to avoid probate.
Exactly.
Which means the whole world doesn't see what you owned and who owns it now after you die. It all passes out of public view. And you ever notice when rich people die, you don't find out everything they own. Nobody knows anything except the family. You keep it in the family. And that's why we use these trusts. One of the many reasons. So why should you not do this? Let's make a list. My attorney says land trusts don't work. I should have added to that in this state because I hear that a lot. I have a lot of attorneys say, you can't do that here. But you can. They're not illegal in any state. It's too expensive to put each property into a trust. Well, really? It doesn't cost anything to set up a trust, so how can it be too expensive? I don't want the extra paperwork. Well, I'll admit to that, it is extra paperwork. You gotta form the trust. The deed, you're making have a deed anyway, so you gotta form the trust. So there's a little extra paperwork, but what's your net worth worth? You know? You want to do a little extra paperwork and protect your net worth or not? I don't care if somebody sues me, they have the right. This is America. We all have a right to sue each other. America has 99% of the lawyers in the world. In the world. And they keep coming up with new and creative ways of the theories to sue us under. Yes, ma'am.
So what if you have an existing property in your name?
If you have an existing property in your name, you need to get it out of your name tomorrow.
Transfer it.
Yeah, you deed it out of your name and into the trust.
So do you do it like a $5 sale, or do you make it like it was a...
Well, it depends on your degree of paranoia. If you want to make it look like a real sale, you pay the stamps. They'll take your money even if you don't owe it. Now, generally, it's an exempt transaction where they don't charge transfer tax. But if you're really concerned about it, pay the transfer tax. Yes, ma'am.
So I just bought a piece of property through my IRA. So I think they can do land trusts through that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Anybody got a Roth or regular IRA? Sure. I do too. I've got a Roth, and every time I buy real estate using my Roth money, the Roth is the beneficiary of the trust. That way, the Roth isn't ever in the public records. I don't want the name of my Roth out there in the public records.
So how would I do that with the IRA?
You make your IRA administrator and the trust, the number and everything they give you is the beneficiary of the trust.
Beneficiary.
Yeah. They go ahead and pay for the property, but they're the beneficiary of the trust. But you get the money out of your Roth to pay for it.
Deal's already done. I closed on it. So,
well,
or my IRA's closed on it.
Yeah, the IRA's closed on it?
Yeah.
Well, you might have a little trouble. You might talk to your administrator and see if they'll let you transfer it.
Okay.
The title out, they may argue with you on that. It's much easier to do before you do that. But talk to them, they may let you, depending on who it is. Okay, anybody else want to add anything to the list? Why you shouldn't do this? So everybody's going to do it, right? Well, let's hope so. Hope you're going to join the club of smart real estate investors today. I will coach you through your first trust agreement. Once you get that first trust agreement crafted the way you want it for you and your family, it's a Word document. It's on your computer. You just fill in the blanks and hit print. And you've got a trust. So it takes probably 10 minutes to create a trust once you get your format up. And that's what I give you is I'm always improving my documentation. I just finished this last summer my 6.0 trust agreement. 6 revisions. And you'll get it. It's 40 pages. I've been doing this for 40 years. I've been a landlord for 49 years. I've been using the trust for 40 years, so it's a pretty cool trust agreement. Yes, sir? Somebody had a question back there? Yes, sir.
So for the wholesalers, how do you assign the beneficial interest? Let's say I've got a deal and I want to assign it to Stacy.
Yeah, it's one of the forms you get from me. It's called an assignment of beneficial interest.
Right.
If you're the beneficiary, you sign it saying that now Bob Smith is a beneficiary, and the trustee acknowledges it. The trustee signs it saying, okay, I got a new boss. It's no longer you, it's him. And that is all a private transaction. Nobody sees that. So let's take that concept and make some money with it. What's the average price home here in this area? 150? Okay. So you run into Grandma and Grandpa. They lived in this house for the last 45 years. And because there's never been a sale, the assessment's just kind of edged up a little bit. So this $150,000 house is, let's say, assessed for $50,000. They're getting ready to go into the assisted living facility, and they say, well, we'd really like to sell this house. We can't sell it for whatever reason, and you say, well, I'll tell you what, I'll buy it, but I want you to put it in a trust first. And I'm going to buy the beneficial interest from the trust. Now, when you do that, as I just mentioned, that's a non-recorded transaction when you buy the beneficial interest in the trust. And the assessment stays at 50 grand. If you had bought it conventionally, say for 100, your assessment would go from 50 to 100 like that, and suck out all your cash flow. That's another good one. That's a great technique. Save you a ton of money. Does that make sense to you, sir? You like that? Okay.
That's worth the price of admission.
What did you charge to get in here, Bob? 0? Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, it's just like you leaving a car dealership, and they say as soon as you leave off the lot, it creates a depreciation of value on the vehicle. This is all dealing with trust also.
Yeah, but it doesn't diminish the value of the real estate.
No. It is saying just give a depreciation of value in the vehicle in general.
Well, the value of the real estate stays the same. Technically, if you want to get real technical about it, when you deed into these trusts, you're really deeding the equity only. This was an interesting thought. Call me 7 days a week. If you decide tonight to become my student, you can call me 7 days a week. That's how serious I am about helping you get you started. I have my office line forwarded to my cell phone 24/7. I was talking to a student about 2 hours ago in the hotel room. Why do I do that? Well, I'm kind of old-fashioned. Because whenever I buy anything from anybody, they never answer their phone. You ever notice that? They never call me back. Their voicemail box is full, or it's never been set up. Boy, unexpected. So I bent over backwards. If you have any questions, you need any help, you pick up the phone and call me. I want you to make money in real estate, not wasting a bunch of time chasing your tail. There was a question, yes, sir?
Yeah. How does this affect the taxes on the house, if you're owner occupied versus non-owner occupied?
How does it affect the real estate taxes on the house, occupied versus non-owner occupied? It doesn't change that. You're still going to qualify for the same exemptions. Now, I don't know how it is in South Carolina, but what's really cool about in Illinois, we qualify for the homestead exemption on rental property. Is that cool? Yeah. You might check and see. I was a landlord and property owner for probably 25, 30 years before I found that out. It saves me $600 per house to qualify for that exemption, and I never knew it for 30 years. That's a lot of loss. But you know, chances are you don't, but you never know. You might check and see. But anyway, the trust doesn't really change that. Now, if you're putting your personal residence in a trust, which I think you should do, 99% of the 3,300 county recorders' offices in this country will let you continue to get the homestead exemption. But I would call them first and make sure, because 1% won't, the homestead exemption. Yes, ma'am?
So how would that, if you were going to put your personal home in, you would still have to have, you know, like where would that trust, who would the beneficiary?
Well, if it's your personal residence, it's either going to be you and or your spouse or significant other, or you could have an LLC as a beneficiary of that trust. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I'll just point this out since I deal with it. In South Carolina, if you put it in a trust, a deed will be filed. When that deed is filed, by default, the county assumes the new owner does not live there, bumps to 6%, which is 3 times our normal rate. But if it's your personal residence and the trust is for your benefit and it's part of estate planning or liability protection or whatever, you just have to go to the county, sign an affidavit, and say, I swear this is my house, I still live here, I'm entitled to 12%, and they put it right back.
But by default, they automatically kick it?
No, if you do a deed
That's
from
really good to know.
If you do a deed from yourself, from you and your spouse, to you and your spouse, for, again, for estate planning, same people, same name, same address, same everything, county automatically defaults to 6%. You have to go in and tell them, the only reason you filed that deed was because you're doing estate planning and you're still living there. And you're
That's great. I'm glad you mentioned that, because that makes that idea we just talked about with this gentleman even more valuable. Because if they put it in trust, and they can do an affidavit that they're the beneficiaries, because they would be. That doesn't mean they're going to continue to be forever. And after all that's done, and they knock the 6% back off, then they can sell beneficial interest, which is a non-recorded transaction. That's going to save you even more money than what I thought on that.
He said that, not me.
I said that. I said that. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to quickly ask, when you file that affidavit, is that public records? If you file that with the deed
I don't know.
office?
Is it?
Just by FOI. If you do a freedom of information request, I think you can get it, but it's not normally considered public.
You probably wouldn't ask them with it.
And that doesn't have anything to do with your mortgage because you're changing that.
No, let's talk about that though. Let me get his question first, because that's a little more involved.
What does it cost to transfer ownership of the trust?
What does it cost to transfer ownership of the trust? So the beneficial interest?
Okay.
The beneficiary?
Back in the good old days of real estate, I bought 8 properties in Pittsburgh and put them all into an LLC.
Okay.
When I went to sell those 8 properties, the closing costs were going to be really expensive. I mean, like $600–800 per property. And anyway, I discovered that if I just sold the LLC, which you can do in South Carolina for $10, that's all it costs to transfer the property. So
yeah. Okay.
Is it similar with the trust?
Yeah, it's very similar, except you don't have the $10. Because again, it's a non-recorded transaction. It's perfectly legal. It's just not recorded anywhere. And you still report it on your taxes and all the rest. We're not doing anything illegal, immoral, or fattening. We're doing what we're supposed to do. Okay, ma'am, your question was about financing, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about that because it always comes up. If you are getting financing, the conventional financing, which means they're going to sell the loan to the federal government, they will not let you close directly in a trust. And that's the smartest thing to do, is take title directly from the seller to your trust, and you're never in the chain. But banks like Bank of America will only let you get 4 of those loans. Then you're forced to go to a portfolio lender. And most portfolio lenders will let you close directly from the seller to your trust. So those federal loans, the conventional loans, are great loans. They're 30-year fixed rate, low interest rate loans. But you got to sign on them personally, close the deal, and then transfer after the closing. Okay? All righty? We good? Good. So, just wanted to mention the support that I'll give you as a student. Let's see, this thing, well, I think it stopped working, Bob.
And the computer just froze.
There we go.
You got it?
There we go. Okay. Now, look at this list. I found this in a magazine. See if you can, find yourself on there somewhere. Most likely to be sued in America today. We're right up there at the top because the lawyers like, hard assets. Cash tends to disappear in a legal situation, You have $100 grand in a savings account, and if somebody sues you and gets a judgment, all of a sudden it kind of disappears, doesn't it? Went to Vegas and lost it all. But you can't liquidate real estate fast, generally. So it's a hard asset that they like to go after. That's why we're at the top of the list. And here's something that's interesting to me. This statistic right here, 97% of lawsuits filed do not go to trial. What does that tell you? They settle. The lawyers make all the money. Doesn't matter if you win or lose, to them, they're still going to make money, right? That really translates to telling me that only 3% of the lawyers know how to go to trial. The rest of them are professional settlers, right? Now, I've got a lawyer. I like him. He's a smart guy. I always recommend that you have a lawyer at every one of your transactions. But the reality of our legal system is not who's right and who's wrong anymore. It's who's got the smartest lawyer, the most money, can throw down hurdles. I don't teach people to use these trusts to take advantage of anybody. I teach you how to do this so you don't get taken advantage of. And it's all about hurdles. I mean, did anybody run track in here when you were in high school or college? Yeah. Who got around the track the fastest? The guys that had to jump over hurdles or the guys that didn't? That's right. Obviously. So if you're jumping over hurdles, that's all I'm going to do. If you come after me, I'm going to throw so many hurdles down in front of you that you're going to run out of time, money, or inclination. And yeah, you'll stumble and fall, and you'll end up suing somebody that makes it a lot easier. And those are the somebodies who own real estate in their name. I have a home study course. This is a copy of it right here. If all this did for you was to keep you from sitting across the table from these guys once in your life, would it be worth it? It sure would. Because it ain't fun, and it's very expensive to sit across the table from those guys. What's really interesting about this is in the back, inside cover, in a little plastic envelope is a key, a USB key, of me teaching this material to a live audience, a whole one-day seminar. All the forms, audio, video, everything is on that key. And the course guide is on the key. So if you pick this up tonight, you can take that home with you. So the idea is to not find ourselves, because being involved in litigation is not only expensive, but it's very time consuming and it's very depressing. And it takes you away from what you want to do, and that's make money in this business, in the real estate business. The opportunity costs and loss are terrible. Just a brief history on myself. I did actually graduate from college, believe it or not. I bought my first house when I was in college. I began investing with, does anybody know what a negative net worth is? After my parents went bankrupt and got divorced, I decided that that's probably not the way I wanted to go. Here's the key. My father was an alcoholic. He got in the car one day when I was 16 and he drove away and never came back. And I tell you that because I didn't have a father that said, oh, here's son, here's $100 to get started in the real estate business. Everything that I acquired was due to my own hard efforts. And when you start out life with nothing, and you work really, really hard for a long period of time to get something, the last thing you want to do is go back to that. Isn't that just depressing to think about? To go back to those days? That was the reason, that was the genesis of why I decided to not own real estate in my name. I had probably 15 houses in my name before I woke up to realize how dumb that was. I thought, well, wait a minute. All you got to do is go to the courthouse, or go online now, and you can look up everything I own. It's in my name. You can look up what the assessed value is, and what the debt is, or at least was when I financed it originally. With those two numbers, you can pretty much approximate my entire net worth. That's pretty dumb, isn't it? So it was at that point I started investigating ways to hold title not in my name. And it didn't cost me anything. So I speak in California quite a bit. In fact, I live in California in January and February of each year because nobody wants to live in Illinois in January or February. And there's a lady attorney in San Diego that I go down and we visit once in a while. We talk about trust. She does trust all day, every day. That's her whole business. And by the way, if you don't want to learn how to do this and you want to hire a lawyer to do it, she does it. $1,650 per trust. So get all you can stand. So we went to lunch one day, and this was a car parked in front of us. And I said, "Oh wait a minute, I got to get a picture of that." This is a license of an attorney in my town. Sue. And that's for you, I sue. So it got me to thinking, who's looking out for me? We got the sharks swimming in the waters out here. Who's looking out for Randy? And more importantly, who's looking out for you? So I made a list. You want to see it?
Well, that's encouraging.
Isn't it? More and more over. The point I'm trying to make here is it's your job to learn how to protect your family's assets. Nobody's going to do it for you. As I mentioned earlier, I got a great friend who's an attorney, smart guy. He knows a lot about trusts. We work well together. I use him on every deal. But I can guarantee you he's not laying awake at night worrying about my assets. That's not his job. That's my job. And it's your job to do it for your family. And if you don't decide to do it, it won't get done. I can guarantee you. Oh, speaking of attorneys, I was given a speech a couple of years ago in California, and after the speech, this attorney came, or this guy came up, who turned out to be an attorney. He came up to me and he started talking, and I said, "Wait a minute, we gotta record this. Let's see if this will work."
Randy, I have to tell you, as an attorney here in California, pride myself on the ability to basically break apart anything legally. And what you've presented is beyond my ability to pierce. The asset protection and the methodology, especially the specific order of going out of state using some of your high-end methods, is just mind-blowing to me. It's something that I can't find a way to pierce it, and I've tried.
Well, thank you. I appreciate those comments. It's nice to have the affirmation like that from time to time. That because you're not always believed. You know, when you teach this stuff, some people think, well, maybe that's all theory, but it doesn't really work. So when you hear it from somebody that's in the streets, going after people from time to time, it's nice to know that we've put up a barrier you can't get through. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. You absolutely have. Thank you.
Okay.
How much you pay?
Let's delve into this a little bit. I mean, it was wonderful to have that testimonial because that's his business, it's chasing you guys. He was talking about my high-end methods. Well, one was using an out-of-state trust. Okay. Now, there are a couple different ways of suing a trust. One's easier than the other. It depends on if it's an inside lawsuit or an outside lawsuit. We don't want to get bogged down in all this, but basically to sue a trust, you have to serve the trustee. Lawsuit, you got to touch the papers. So, I have a whole chapter in my home study course on who can be and who should be your trustee. The short version of that chapter is it should be somebody with a different last name than you, and somebody who lives out of the county in which you and the property are located. So, about 5 years ago, I had an attorney call me up from Virginia. And he said, Randy, a client of mine referred me to your basic land trust course, and I bought it. He said, this is really great. Do you have any more? And I said, well, I've got an advanced course. He said, I'll take it. So in the conversation, I said, say, by the way, what kind of an attorney are you? He said, I'm a Native American Indian attorney. I said, oh, how's that work? He said, well, what's interesting is most of the time when I go to court, I go into the judge and say, Your Honor, you don't have jurisdiction. I said, well, why doesn't he? He said, because of something called sovereignty. And I never understood it until he explained it. He said, Abraham Lincoln got this passed through the Congress. There's the federal law, the law of the land. There's Indian law, and there's state law. And I said, you're kidding me. The Indians trump the states? He said, yeah, in most cases, that's true. And you have to go to tribal court to sue. And there are only 1% of the lawyers in the United States are qualified to go to tribal court. I said, well, that's really interesting. I said, are you telling me that if you were my trustee, see where I'm going? If you were my trustee, somebody couldn't sue my trust in state court, they'd have to go to tribal court or federal court? Federal court's much more expensive, you've got to have a smarter lawyer, and double the hourly rate. He said, yeah, that's pretty much how it works. I said, well, that's very interesting. You need to start a trustee service. And he did. And he now serves as trustee for a lot of my students. He'll serve for you too. Now, here's the kicker. He will form a Native American business entity, which is basically an Indian LLC, for you as the beneficiary. So now you can't sue at state level, at the trustee level, and you can't at the beneficiary level. That sounds like a pretty good plan. So he can form a Native American business entity for you. And it's not state specific, it's tribe specific. Yes, ma'am.
When you say for you, you don't have to be of Native American heritage?
No. You do not have to have, what was it, 3% Native American blood or whatever it is to qualify. So, about 10 years ago, I formed something I call the Land Trust University. It's an actual online university. It's me teaching with videos and audios. I've written tests for you. Take a test after you study each module. You can take a little cute little test and get a score and compare yourself to other students. It's a real university. In that university, I have any forms I update, if I invent a new form or something, it goes in there. I've got all 50 states. I've got 50 Word document files in there, one for each state. So you open up whatever state you're interested in, and everything I know about trusts is in there, including any attorneys that know how trusts work in that area, title companies, insurance companies, trustee services. So if you can't find someone to serve as your trustee, I can refer you to a trustee service. They'll charge you a couple $100 a year, but at least you can get the job done. All that is state by state. I'm the only guy on the planet writing a land trust newsletter. The last 10 years of newsletters are in the university. Once a month I do a coaching call for all my students on a Saturday morning from 11 to 12. They call in from all of the United States and 4 different countries, and we talk about privacy and asset protection and corporations and LLCs and trusts. Those calls are recorded. The last 10 years worth of calls are in there. There are 2 recordings of the Native American Indian attorney and how all that works in there. So it's just a tremendous vehicle for you to learn quickly and learn interesting stuff. I charge $27 a month to belong to the university. However, if you decide to get my home study course tonight, I will give you 6 months free membership. And then if you want to stay in longer, that's great. It's just month to month, no long-term commitment. That's the Land Trust University. All right. Let's see. Let's break this down. How do we do this? How do we form a trust? Let's break it into steps. Okay, step 1. That's interesting. Is we have to create the trust agreement. Remember I said we got to build a hotel before we bring the chairs in. So we create the trust agreement. We use the template that I provide you, that 40-page trust document. And it's got some really cool stuff in it. Like, for example, if my trustee even smells a lawsuit coming, remember I said you got to serve my trustee to start the lawsuit? If she even smells a lawsuit coming, she must immediately resign and forward all documentation to the successor trustee. Wow. Who lives in another state. This is fun. This is fun. This is fun. Step 2, you create the deed and trust, and I'll provide you some forms for that. Step 3, you record the deed and trust, and then we get to go to step 4, which is my favorite step, what I do the best, and that is, if I can get it to work, I would. There. You remember the first time you bought some real estate, put your name on a note? Was it like 100 grand or something? You go home that night, put your head down on the pillow, and think, oh God, what did I do? This is kind of the opposite feeling. You get this stuff out of your name, and you really do sleep better at night. You really, really do. Okay, let's break it down a little bit further. Yes, ma'am?
I have a question. If I put my house into a trust and say my brother who lives out of state is the trustee and an LLC is the beneficiary, and I decide to sell the house, who is actually signing the paperwork at that point?
Your brother's the trustee?
Yes.
So the brother is going to sign the deed. That trustee has full legal and equitable title to the property. They can't do anything with it unless they're directed to do so in writing by the beneficiary. But they hold the full legal title. Yes, ma'am?
And the aspect, can they refuse to sign? Because they're in their best interest is for the trust.
Yeah, well, they could refuse to sign. They could go crazy. They could die. They could decide not to like you anymore. And you know what we do with those folks? We fire them.
Okay.
And we hire new ones. Now, you brought up a really good point. I've had 9 trustees die in the last 40 years. And when the first one died, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to lose my property. The title to this property is in a dead man's name. What do I do? I sat back and I waited and I waited and waited. About a year went by before I realized there's no damn trustee police out there. And I thought, why do I need a life trustee?
Go to the cemetery yesterday.
It occurred to me in the middle of the night, I sat straight up and I thought, I need a life trustee if I'm doing one of two things. Selling the property, I need that trustee to sign. You know, it's kind of hard to get those dead guys to sign. And if I'm financing the property, I need him to sign the mortgage. It's collateral for the loan. And if I'm not doing one of two things, one of those two things, I don't need a life trustee. And that property stayed in that dead man's name for 15 years until I decided to sell the property.
Does that also protect you if they try and sue? Because they can't serve the
Well, it's pretty hard to serve those guys 6 feet. Yes, sir.
So what, let's say I'm looking for a trustee. What does it benefit that person to be my trustee?
Well, that's a great question. Why should somebody be his trustee is what he's asking. I have written a letter that's in the Land Trust University, a 2-page letter that all you do is print out and hand to somebody, and hopefully it will convince them to be your trustee. It bullet points why they should be. But kind of a short answer to your question, sir, is if they have a reason to be involved in your success. For example, I have 2 adult daughters. They got married. They changed their last name. Might be good trustees, because when I kick, they're getting the bucket, right? So that might be an incentive. Maybe you've got an Aunt Marge that just wants to help you out, or whatever it is. Or it could be somebody in this room that after tonight, you say, hey, this is a really smart way to invest. And tell you what, you be my trustee, and I'll be your trustee. And we won't charge each other. I live out of your county, you live out of my county, or whatever. So you can do it that way. But again, worst case scenario, I can provide, in fact, Sasha is my assistant, and she is on her way back as we speak with our luggage. And you'll get to meet her very soon, but she has a trustee service, so if you want to talk to her about hiring her as a trustee, she does that. A lot of people do. Yes, ma'am.
So what if you and your trustee have a fallout? Can they go sell your property?
No, they can't do anything with it without written permission from you, the beneficiary.
Oh, so the beneficiary is the actual controller?
Yes, ma'am. The beneficiary controls the trust, yes.
So do you have another course of becoming a trustee service?
No, I don't.
He does now.
I'll write one tonight. There's another question there.
So what did you do with the, when you made the sale with the person?
I'm glad you brought that up. So how did I sell the property after 15 years? I use Chicago Title for all my transactions. They're the largest title company in America. I went to them. I said, my trustee died. Here's the appointment of new trustee form. I was back in business. Isn't that interesting?
And they said, when did he die?
Yes, sir.
As a practical matter, how do you deal with homeowner association, homeowners insurance? To make
Well,
sure they don't get.
I have a whole chapter in the course guide on just insuring the property, so I give you a lot of good tips, but let me answer your question, the short version. He said, how do you insure the property in the trust? The named insured on your policy should be the trustee in the trust. Why? Because they own it. And my students always kind of get a little blowback from their insurance agents because the insurance agents don't understand this. And they say, oh, well, you need to be insured as the beneficiary. And we'll make the beneficiary you, the named insured. And I say, no. So I asked the insurance agent, do you want to insure somebody who doesn't own the property? No. Well, then insure the trustee. The trustee owns the property. Now, we go on further and say, so the trustee is Bob Jones, trustee for the Orange and Blue Land Trust number 1234. and all beneficiaries as their interest may appear. That way you get coverage at the beneficiary level without having to name them.
Do you have any trouble with the mortgagee when the name changes to a trust and their escrow is saying, this isn't our borrower?
Yeah. The question is, let's say you're telling somebody to put the property into a trust and then you're going to buy a beneficial interest in the trust. You need to change the insurance to the trustee. Typically the way we do that is we'll name the trust after the seller. See, we can name these trusts anything we want to as long as we don't infringe on copyright. So, if I'm buying the house from Bob Smith, and I have Bob put it in trust first, I'm going to name that trust the Smith Family Trust. Then when the insurance gets switched over to the trustee, it's going to say, Randy Hughes, trustee for the Smith Family Trust. The lender sees that and they say, well, they just did some estate planning. That works. Now, here's the alternative. You either tell the lender up front or you don't. Those are the two options. I went to my lenders that were all portfolio lenders and said, hey guys, I'm doing some estate planning. I'd like to put these properties into trust. I know that could possibly jeopardize a due on sale clause, so I'm coming to you up front. Every single one of them said, we understand. We like estate planners, go ahead and do it. And I got it in writing from them that they approved it. So it's really not a big deal. Has not been. Yes, sir.
And just like you said, if you go to the insurance company, and what I read, even in the RRS, they say when you do certain things dealing with the insurance company, it's best going to a more professional, someone certified in estate planning insurance. Because you can't just say, I'm going to State Farm and say, hey, I want you to set this policy, for my estate trust. A lot of these people are not equipped.
Well, the agents don't understand that. We took to State Farm's home office in Bloomington, Illinois. We took this concept, and they ran it by underwriters, and it finally approved it as far as insuring the trustee, because none of the agents knew how to do it. I do have in the Land Trust University a list of land trust friendly lenders and land trust friendly insurance companies. So pretty much got that problem solved for you. Okay, so to create a trust agreement, we have to start with a good template. That's my 40-page trust document for you. You follow my instructions. I have bold printed instructions in there. I walk you through it. I hold your hand to help you get that first trust created and in your system. Trustee signs it, the beneficiary sign it, and you keep that for your records. It does not get recorded anywhere. Nowhere on the planet. And that's where you get your privacy of ownership. Okay? Step 2, create the deed and trust. We do that with a deed and trust. Now, when you're putting property into a trust, it's called a deed in trust. If you're selling out of the trust, it's called a trustee's deed. They're two different forms. I can do both of them. Seller's the grantor. Remember I said the smartest way to do this is to get your seller to take title from him to your trust? So on the deed, the seller's the grantor, and your trustee is the grantee. Don't put your address on the deed. You really got to put an address on the deed for the tax bill, right? Anybody ever heard of Dennis Hastert? You remember that guy? Yeah. The Speaker of the House from Illinois? All Illinois politicians go to jail. We have 2 governors in there right now. Lifting weights. So Dennis Hastert, the Speaker of the House, big dog, he gets wind of a new highway going through Chicago. So he's going to kind of take advantage of the increasing land values. And he goes out and buys a whole bunch of real estate and puts each parcel in a separate land trust. Where did he go wrong?
Put his address.
Put his home address on the deeds for the tax bill. They caught him, and he went to the big house. He's still there right now. transferring the property into the trust, you record the deed in trust at the county recorder's office where the property is located. Not in Florida where you form the trust, not in Illinois where I live, and not in Nevada where my LLC is, but in the county where the property is located.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
If he was wise enough to put all that into a trust, why was he not educated or misinformed about not putting his address on the?
That's a great question. I mean, how can a guy at that level do such a stupid thing? It may have not been him. It may have been his attorney. Or whoever prepared that deed just didn't even think about it. You see, most people just don't think about this. They just don't think. My lenders, I was buying a property once, and my local portfolio lender said, "Randy, we're not really sure about these out-of-state trustees. We're not real comfortable with that. Can't you use somebody locally?" And I said, "Sure. How about Rick, my attorney?" They said, "Oh yeah, we know Rick." Well, Rick's at all my closings anyway, so I'm already paying him. So I said, "Hey Rick, would you be my trustee for a day?" He said, "Sure." So we go to closing, Rick's there, he signs all the documents as the buyer, as the trustee. Everything's recorded. And the next day, I fired Rick. And I hired the trustee that I wanted, out of state. Now, if you go look up in the courthouse records who owns that property, it says Rick. Rick doesn't own it. You're chasing your tail. He doesn't own it anymore. See how that works? You just got to think this stuff through. Yes, ma'am.
When you fired him, or let's say you took his name off, was he like, what?
I didn't take him off the deed.
Okay, I mean, well, what do you have to record that?
I took him off the trust, not off the deed.
She's just looking for the form, the appointment of
Oh,
the
the form?
successor.
Oh, yeah, it's one of the forms you get in my home study course. It's called Appointment of New Trustee.
Are the details of the trust ever subject to a FOIA?
No, are the details of the trust ever subject to a FOIA request? No, because it's not public information. See, that's got to be, public access, like government information. That's what this is private. Let's see. There's some other thing I wanted to make about that trustee thing. Yeah. So.
Hey, can I defend Denny Hester's attorney? I'll tell you, he probably wasn't told this guy was trying to scam the system.
Probably not.
And so he said, well, we don't have any, we're all honest here, so he put his address on there.
Yeah.
And then later he finds out, oops.
I think you're probably right, because Dennis probably didn't want to tell him what he was doing.
Right.
And Dennis was too busy to check the paperwork.
Oops. You said his
But
personal address was?
His personal home address was on the deed. Now, I put up a P.O. box. You can put any address on the planet on those deeds. All you want is to eventually get the tax bill so you can pay it on time, right? But it doesn't have to be your home address. You certainly don't want it to be my trustee's address. I don't want her to have to hassle with mail. So I can do any address I want. Yes, sir?
At least in South Carolina, you could make it a totally made up address and nobody cares. The only reason the county cares is they want to be able to say, we mailed you notice. It's not our problem, it was the wrong address. And you can check online and the bills all come out at the same time every year. So you don't really even need that notice.
That's a great idea. Thank you for that. Yeah, just put any address you want on there and just make sure you check your properties and get your tax bill when it does come out. Yeah? Yes, ma'am.
But is it gonna show the trustee as owning the property?
Yeah, they're entitled.
So, I mean, that's their asset then, correct?
No, they're just holding title for the beneficiary. They have no personal liability, the trustee doesn't, unless they act without direction. They can't just go rogue on you without liability. But as long as they're actually acting within the direction of the beneficiary, they have no personal liability. There's another reason, sir, why they may want to serve for you as trustee, when you tell them they have no personal liability. There's over 100 years of case law in Illinois that backs that up. They have no personal liability. Okay, you receive the deed in trust in the mail, or they stamp it and give it to you right then, and that goes in your files, and you do keep that as proof of the property being in the trust. All right?
So how do you receive the deed and trust in the mail if your address isn't on?
Well, if they're going to mail it to you, you probably want to have it mailed to an address that you do get mail. If they just stamp it and give it to you right then it wouldn't matter, would it? Yes?
They usually mail it to the attorney.
They mail it to the attorney? Well, that's assuming the attorney prepared it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. In Dallas, Texas, there's a group of real estate investors. A guy named Dennis Henson has a club there. And he invites 30, he calls it a real estate mastermind group. He invites 30 of us to Cancun once a year. And we sit around the pool down there and we primarily drink. And once in a while we talk about real estate so we can deduct it all, right? So I was sitting down there a couple of years ago across the table from this guy and his wife, and they said, "Hey Randy, thank you for writing that homesteading course, the land trust course." I said, "Well, you got it?" He said, "Yeah, we bought it." I said, "Why did you buy it?" He said, "Well, it's an interesting story. We were sitting home one night. They own 15 single-family rentals in Dallas." He said, "We were sitting home one night, and the doorbell rang, 9:30 on Friday night. Doorbell rings, and I go to the door, and it's one of my tenants. And he says, "Hey, my toilet's plugged up. I need you to come over." And my friend says, "Hey, it's 9:30 on Friday night. I'll come over in the morning. I'm not coming out tonight." And his tenant said, "No, you don't understand. You're coming tonight." They had to call the police. Big problem. Light bulb went off in their head that night. You don't own this stuff in your name. What had he done? What had the tenant done? He types in his own address, see who owns it. Then he types in that guy's name and sees where he lives. Because they have their personal residence in their name. And marches on over. Now, I've been a landlord for almost 50 years. For 20 some of those years, I had 2 little girls growing up in my house. And the last thing I needed was some guy I was evicting coming knocking at the door, and my 7-year-old daughter answered. You see how serious this is? It's not just estate planning, it's not asset protection, it's real life stuff. So I had a lady call me last year from Florida. She said, "Randy, I need your homesteading course fast. What's the fastest way I can do it?" And I said, "Well, what's the hurry?" She said, "Well, I'm down here in Florida. I've got 8 rental houses plus my own personal residence. They're all in my name. And I just got a call from one of my tenants." She said, "A man knocked on the door looking for me. I know who he is, and I'm not interested." The light bulb went off in her head that night. You don't know this stuff. What had he done? He just typed in her name, printed out 9 addresses, and went door knocking until he found out where she lived. So if that doesn't scare you lady landlords into doing something, nothing will. Because these tenants will do just about anything, especially if they're buying or renting. Yes, sir.
Where's that piece of paper where we were supposed to write our emails?
Oh, yeah. Did that make it around?
It was circulated this way.
Can we get that on up here, please? Thank you. Okay. We doing all right? Anybody fall asleep yet? Okay. We're coming down to the end here. All right, then we go to step 4. We get to sleep better. Don't you look happy? Okay, I promised earlier to give you a diagram, and here it is. Let's say you own 3 rental houses. You put them in 3 separate trusts. You have an LLC as the beneficiary. Now, if you want to do some estate planning, you can make your living trust the successor member of your LLC. Anybody in here have a living trust? Okay. A couple of us do, yeah. A living trust is a trust that distributes your assets on your death. It's what I call controlling beyond the grave. And here's where the confusion is with a lot of practitioners. A lot of lawyers know how to create a living trust. But a living trust is what I call trustee driven. The trustee makes all the decisions on what happens inside that trust. A land trust is just the opposite. It's beneficiary driven. And there is the big difference. Okay? So this is a great structure. It works really well. You can do it yourself. It's not expensive. I mean, you can spend 10, 20, 50 grand on asset protection techniques. But you can do this for very little money. This is exactly how my wife's assets were set up. I was married for 41 years, and she died 5 years ago last week. Sorry. Yeah, well, thank you. But she had her assets, I had mine. Don't do this with your assets. Don't sign on notes together. Don't buy property together, because it'll bite you. Yes, sir?
I understand exactly what you're saying. Because your wife, she had her separate trust, you had your own separate trust.
Yep, she had her own LLC, she had her own living trust.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
Why is that? Well, my wife was a bookkeeper. She was happy if you'd stick her in her room with a computer and shut the door and not come back till lunchtime. The odds of her being sued were slim to none. Now I'm the mover and shaker out here in the real world, right? The odds of me being sued are much greater. If we owned everything together and you sued me and you won, you got it all. I can't live off zero. But if you sue me and get half, I can probably still survive on her half. Separation of assets, same thing. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Last question. So if you already have LLC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you backtrack and add it to a land trust? Or?
Yeah, yeah. Let's say you own an LLC that's got 10 rental houses in it right now. Mm-hmm. All you do is deed those 10 out in 10 separate deeds. You deed them out of the LLC to 10 separate land trusts and make the LLC the beneficiary. So you take it out of this pocket and put it right back in this pocket. 10 deeds will do it. Now, yes, sir.
In regards to the estate planning, my wife's grandmother died and left a lot of property. And Uncle Sam jumped up and said, hey, we want a lot of that. And they took a lot of that. And so, how do you, which way do you protect that in this situation? Is that?
Well, right now, you got to have more than $5 million to have an estate problem. Anything less than $5 million, there's no estate tax on it. But here's how this worked. What's really interesting about what happened in my situation is not only did she have her stuff and I had mine, she had 95% of everything, and I had 5%. She had the good stuff, I had the negative cash flow stuff. So if you sued me and got me, I'd probably just give it to you easily. See the way that works? Now, what happened was, it was an unintended consequence. When she died, 95% of what our entire net worth came to me through this trust with a step-up in basis. Which means that, you know, if you own a house for a long time, it gets depreciated out. We were just about out of depreciation. We've been used to living the tax-free life for a long time, and all of a sudden, boom, you start dropping those amortization schedules off, and your tax bill goes up dramatically. She died, all of her assets got a step up in basis, which means we had everything appraised as of the date of her death, and I started all over with new depreciation schedules. Is that interesting? All new depreciation schedules. Those are last gift to me. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is my last question. So what if you had a holding company that owns your LLC? Should I be getting it to a land trust some kind of way?
Well, if you had a holding company that owned your LLC, your holding company would be here in this. Now, what's interesting about this is, as I said, the living trust is trustee driven. Trustee makes all the decisions, beneficiaries don't. So guess who was the trustee of her living trust? Daughters are the beneficiaries. They don't have any say so. Old man does. Now, and the living trust is a great tool to control beyond the grave. I mean, when we created these things, we tried to think of all kinds of fun things to put in there. Like if they wanted to buy a house, they could come to the trust for 20%, but that's all. What does that mean? Well, if you only get 20%, which is your down payment, that means you've got to qualify for 80% loan. What's it take to qualify for a loan? A job. A job. A job.
A real job.
A real job. So, you see, the worst thing you can do with kids is give them a bunch of money, because you'll create drug addicts and alcoholics, right? So we said, hey, you may be a drug addict and alcoholic, but you're going to have to hold down a job, too.
You can put stipulations in there, too.
Pardon me?
You can put stipulations in the trust that you want to, no children want to control anything in the trust. You can put stipulations in there.
You can put anything you want in there. We put in there if they want to start a business, they can present a business plan to the trustee. If they want to get married, they can come and get money to get married. Just, you know, just have fun with it. Then you roll over in a grave, just laugh. Okay, 12 reasons out of the 50-some reasons avoids probate. We talked about that with my wife, right? Nobody saw anything happen. You see, everybody who owns real estate in their name tonight, if you die tonight, your heirs aren't going to get that real estate for God only knows how long. 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year after it goes through probate. And it's made public, everything you owned, and now who owns it? So if you want to tell the world everything, keep on owning this stuff in your name. Judgments don't attach to the property. Remember my story about the shopping center? I will not be a partner with anybody. Now, it doesn't mean I won't invest with somebody, but I'll just do it through trust. But I won't be a partner with anybody on a deed, especially. And the reason why is I used to be a partner. Back in the 80s, I was a partner, about 15 of us owned commercial real estate. And the general partner sent out a letter saying, we got negative cash flow, everybody needs to divvy in. So we all wrote the check. A few months later, we got negative cash flow, everybody needs to divvy in. So wrote a check. So I'm at one of the partnership meetings, and I happen to be talking to his secretary outside of the desk. And she spills the beans and says, do you know that he's not putting in cash, the general partner is not putting in cash, he's putting in a note. I owe you 10 grand. I owe you 10 grand. The rest of us are putting in real greenbacks, you know. So that made me mad. I went to him, I said, I want out. And he bought me out for a little bit of money. It was like 5 grand cash and $40,000 on a note. And guess what happened when the note came due? He didn't pay it. He didn't pay it. So I sued him, got a judgment, filed what's called a memorandum of judgment, which is like throwing a lien over everything he owns in the county in his name. And I sat back and I waited. And about a year went by. And I got a call from Chicago Title. They said, hey, Randy, would you come on down here and sign this release? You're showing up as a lien holder. I said, tell me more. What are you talking about? Well, this young lady's trying to sell her condo, and she can't do it because you're shown as a lien holder. I said, oh, very interesting. Does her name happen to be so-and-so? Yeah. I said, well, I'll tell you what. I'll come down and sign a partial release of my lien for all the equity out of this deal. All the equity. I want to see the HUD one, and the bottom line number goes to me, or I don't sign. They had to do it. She'd already bought something else. She had a buyer of her place. What happened? How did that happen? Well, her daddy went shopping for the condo, and he's a nice guy. He put his name on the deed with her. Big mistake. Big mistake. Don't go on a deed with somebody. Because Daddy had $40,000 judgment against him from me. And I'm sure Daddy and daughter had a wonderful conversation that night about what happened to all the equity. It's, It's serious stuff. It's really serious. Yes, sir.
I don't know if this has to do with this part, but if someone has a will, how does that go against in probate? Does that do anything?
If somebody has a what, sir?
Right, if they write a will.
Oh, will?
Does that have anything?
When you put this stuff in trust, thank you, it's a good question. When you put this stuff in trust, it bypasses the will. I mean, my wife had a will, but we didn't even file a small estate affidavit because she didn't have enough stuff in her name that wasn't in trust.
But if they have a will, does that bypass?
No, the will, this bypasses the will. If you put the stuff in trust, it automatically goes to that successor beneficiary the moment you die. And the will's out of the question. The will covers anything that's not in trust, that's in your name.
Does that wipe out inheritance tax too?
No, it doesn't wipe out inheritance tax. It's not going to avoid any tax at all.
Can you get away with that?
You always got to pay that. Easier, safer management with multiple owners. I'm not saying don't do business with other people. I'm just saying do it in a smart way. For example, let's say we all kicked in $5 tonight and we go buy some real estate. Could you imagine if we all went on the deed together? What a nightmare that would be. But if we put the title in a trust, we could all be co-beneficiaries. Right? And life would be much easier. Wholesaling and contract assignments are easier because you can assign that beneficial interest in the trust. As I mentioned, no registered agent, no franchise fees, no tax return. The IRS, these are called grantor revocable trusts. And the IRS says, we don't even see them, don't even tell us about it. Just report at the beneficiary level. Now, if you own real estate right now in your name, you're reporting the tax consequences on your 1040 Schedule E, right? If you put the property in the trust and you personally are the beneficiary, you're still going to report on your 1040 Schedule E. If you put the property in the trust and your LLC is the beneficiary, it depends on how you characterize that LLC with the IRS. Is it a disregarded entity? Back to Schedule E. Is it a partnership? File a 1065 partnership return and issue a K-1? Or it's a sub-S or a regular C corp. So those are tax issues as to whether or not you put it on your personal tax return. I personally don't want anything on my personal tax return. I want it all to come through K-1s, which is just one more layer to have to fight through if you're fighting. And that reminds me, when you, and I covered this in my advanced course in detail, when you're filing your tax return, you don't have to put the address of the property you're depreciating. Your income and expenses are there. You don't have to list that. And I would suggest you not, because there are a whole lot of people who have access to your tax return. In fact, I only give the IRS 4 numbers. Total income, total expenses, total depreciation, and net. A little asterisk that says, you want the breakdown, come and get it. Because I got it, I'm just not going to put it on my tax return. Now, your accountant will tell you you can't do that, but I've been doing it for 25 years. And I got the backup, so if they audit me, I'm not doing anything illegal, immoral, or fattening, but I'm just not going to give you that information on my tax return. Protection against unhappy tenants. How many are landlords in here? Okay, maybe a third of us. Yeah, I can tell you stories all night about landlord situations like the lady in Florida I just mentioned. I have an assistant in my property management company, and I let him manage property for other people. And he manages 10 condos for a doctor in Chicago. And the doctor didn't take my advice, so he titles the condos in his name. So one day we have this unhappy tenant. You know, some tenants you just can't make happy. You can throw money at them and they'd be complaining. So she gets so mad, she just looks up who the owner of her condo is. finds out, because he's got his name and address and everything, he's a doctor in Chicago. She gets in the car and drives 2.5 hours to his office. Marches into the reception area and starts hassling the nurses, one of which was his wife. They throw her out. She goes out in the parking lot and sits in her car and waits till he gets off work. This is what happens. This can happen. Big problems. Avoids due on sale clause, transfer tax, reassessment at sale. Those are all closing costs you can save if you sell the beneficial interest instead of doing a standard deal. So that increases your profits. That's the idea. Privacy of ownership helps you avoid ID theft. If your trustee is signing a mortgage and they're not personally liable, the bank doesn't report on them to the credit agency. And you sign a note and or a guarantee, which goes in the banker's file, they don't report on that either. So it kind of sounds like I could own millions of dollars worth of real estate, and you can pull a credit report and nothing would show. That could be to somebody's advantage, couldn't it? Right? I like that. That's a good one. Repossess, don't foreclose. Remember we talked about that earlier. We all understand that benefit. Anybody doing options? Buying options, lease options, that sort of thing? Same theory as this one. You want to sell an option on the beneficial interest from the trust, not on the house. Because if you do a lease option and they default on the lease, the judge will say they still have an equitable interest in your house. That happened to you? I know a guy happened to, he lost 62 option deals. The judge ruled. The judge may reverse all of them. Naming your trust. Now, if you go to a local lawyer tomorrow and say, this guy came from Illinois and talked about land trusts, and he talked about how important it is to name the trust properly, they'll laugh at you and tell you that I'm an idiot. But, you know, I've been doing this for 40 years, so I'll match them wit to wit if that's what I want to do. Most people that will help you put property into trust will tell you to name the trust after the property. 123 Vine Street. I think that's dumb. I think you should name your trust something that sounds maybe a little more intimidating. I have a lot of students in California. One of them called me up the other day and he said, I bought a new apartment building, I haven't closed yet, I'm trying to think of a new name for the trust. Can you make a suggestion? I said, sure, this is the fun part of this transaction. I said, what's your heritage? And he said, I'm Armenian. I said, what's your wife? He said, she's Jewish. I said, okay. What if you named your trust the Armenian-Jewish, ESQ, period, Global Real Estate Investors? Now, if you're a contingency fee lawyer patrolling the waters today looking for somebody to sue, and you came across that name, who do you think's behind that trust? Just by the name?
Armenian government.
What?
I would think the Armenian government.
Well, the ESQ might give you a hint.
Esquire.
Esquire stands for lawyers, right? So it kind of sounds like a bunch of Jewish Armenian lawyers. You don't want to sue lawyers because lawyers don't pay legal fees. They got you from the get-go. I was speaking in South Florida recently, and there's a ton of money flowing into South Florida from South America. They're bringing in briefcasefuls of money, buying $10 million houses, paying cash as a store of value. What if I name my trust the South American Medellin Partners Trust? You want to sue those guys?
Yeah.
They don't play by the rules. And for those of you that don't recognize the name, the Medellin cartel's pretty well known. Drug cartel. So I was speaking in San Francisco, And there's a ton of money flowing into San Francisco where the local folks like you can't even buy real estate because the Asians are moving in and paying full price or over full price, all cash. So maybe if I was out there, I'd name my trust the Asian Consortium of National Real Estate Investors. You want to take them on? Probably not. Probably not, because the game is, you better have some, it's like high stakes poker, you better have a big nest egg, because they are going to run you out of money and time, right? So I've got a whole chapter in here on how to name and number your trust. It's fun. It's fun. I called up my county recorder's office and I said, to the lady who types in information off deeds, I said, how many characters can you type in? She said, 32. I said, thank you very much. And from then on, all my trust names have more than 32 characters. Why? Because it gets truncated, right? It gets truncated when they type it in. So most Americans are lazy. They'll go online and they'll look up the name, but that's not the name. They think it's the name, but it's not the full name. And when you're filing a lawsuit against something, you got to do it right, or there are problems. Isn't this fun?
You enjoy this too much, don't you?
Oh, this is great. This is just, yes, sir.
Can you expand a bit on number 11? Because I think that's something that most of us in here would be interested in.
Selling on lease option? Yeah. I like to do this with tenants that have been with me for at least a year, that have proven that they pay on time. I can go to them and say, hey, would you like an option to buy this house? And if they say yes, I say, well, how much money you got? You know, and if they say $5,000, I say, well, that's the price of the down payment. Give me $5,000, I'll give you an option to buy the house. Actually, an option to buy the trust is what I mean. And then they've got an option, a 1-year option or a 2-year option, whatever we negotiate, and then they either exercise the option and buy it at the end of the time period, or they don't. If they don't, they lose their option on it, because it's option money.
Okay. I always thought that a land trust and contract for deed were related to each other.
Well, a contract for deed is the wrong way of doing it. It accomplishes the same thing. It's a buyer with a low down payment that can't qualify for a loan. He's buying on contract, but he's contracting for the deed. My guy's contracting for the beneficial interest. And there's the difference. The beneficial interest is personal property. The deed is real estate. So same theory, just done a little bit better in my opinion. Yes, sir.
Do you have software that you use for keeping track of all of the properties and tenants and options and dates and amounts?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking it, because when you get a lot of property, this can get away from you unless you keep organized. One of the forms you'll get from me is called the Trust Tracker. And it's a form I invented out of necessity. And I put it on the inside of each file for each property, and it's like an abstract. So I open that file up, and if I haven't looked at it in 5 years, it says the name of the trust, when it was formed, who the trustee is, who the beneficiary is, have I assigned the beneficial interest, all right there. I don't have to go leafing through all this stuff over here. So yeah, the Trust Tracker is a great form.
That's not software, that's old school.
Well, it's electronic. I mean, you just fill in the blanks and print it. Yeah. I like to, when I think of trust names, as I'm just driving down the road, I write those trust names down. I've got a sheet of trust names. So when I'm ready to form a trust, I don't have to think of anything. I just go to the list and look at it. I have 28 Section 8 tenants. Many of those trusts are named Section 8, trust number 1246. Section 8, number 12-42. Now, if those tenants look up who the owner is, who do they think owns the house they live in?
Section 8.
That's the government, right? Yes, sir.
So when you get the check from the government, these trusts have bank accounts?
No, trusts don't have bank accounts. Beneficiary has a bank account. But Section 8 sends that to us as the property manager.
Oh, okay.
We have a property management account. All goes into there, and then we distribute it where we want it after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So naming the trust, again, as long as you don't infringe on copyright law, you can name it whatever you want, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to come up with those names and numbers. Okay, let's see. We're just about here at the end, so don't fall asleep on me, please. So I talked about the Land Trust University. The system I put together is a simple, proven system. You save money, you fill in the blank, you get ultimate privacy, and teaches you how to do this at no cost. I give you real-life examples online. You can listen to the training on your phone, in your car, on your iPad, whatever. You can use these trusts for pretty much all the deals you do, all your real estate transactions you can do. Service is everything. I answer my phone, and I'll answer it and help you and answer any questions you have. You get all the forms you'll ever need. You fill in the blank, you get the trust agreement, the deed, and everything else you might need. Oh, you get a free consultation with a friend of mine who does LLCs and corporations all over the United States for my students. You can call him, get a free consultation. You can use him if you want to. If you don't want to, that's all right. There's no obligation. But he can tell you what's the best state, what the costs are, and that's a free consultation that you get as my student. What's the cost? $597. And you can deduct it off your taxes. Because it's educational, right? Real quick, this is the last testimony, it's only like a minute. This is a young man that came to me through the internet, and let's see with him.
I'm from Illinois, I'm 21 years old, and I'm a senior in college. I recently acquired a piece of land down in Florida, and I knew a little bit about land trust, but not much. After finding some research and doing some online, I came across Randy's website. I wasn't too sure about it all at first, but I did call him because he had his number on the webpage, and I eventually bought the Land Trust Made Simple home study course. The course was great, and I was actually able to make my own land trust 100% by myself. No attorneys involved, no realtors involved, and that's me with very little real estate experience. If I can do it, anyone can do it, and I want to reassure you that it is well worth the money.
That's a pretty good testimony, isn't it? Young guy with no experience. He lives down in Florida, not some land down there. As I mentioned, I do have an advanced course. You don't need it. You need the basic course to learn how to create trust. But for those people who want to take it to another level, you get all this. It gives them the personal property trust agreements, how to fill out your tax return, gives you a financial statement to use for when you have properties in trust. They're both $597, but if you buy them together, I discount them by $300. So $897, and you take the advanced home with you. And then finally, I have what I call the elite package, and that's this key. This is all four of my courses: my privacy and asset protection course, my option course, and the basic and advanced land trust courses. They all come on this key. Audio, video, everything on this. So you can print out, you can print all the course guide or whatever you want to do. So the bottom line is you work hard to acquire your assets. You can't wait until the wolf is at the door. I know your tendency is to think, well, this is really all great, Randy, but I'll do it some other time. I'll wait until I need to. About once a month I get a call from somebody who's in a room like this, and they say, yeah, I know, Randy, I should have done it, but I didn't. I said, well, why are you calling me? Well, I just found out that I'm going to get sued by a tenant of mine. What do I do? And I said, well, let's see, this is Friday? Thursday? Sunday's coming up. I suggest you go to church and do some praying, because that's all you can do. You see, you can't do this after the fact. You can't buy insurance on your house when it's on fire, can you? And everybody in here has insurance on their house. Everybody in here has car insurance. Why? Because something might happen, right? You're all convinced on those two issues. Hopefully I've convinced you on this issue. I do have a money-back guarantee. If you get my home study course tonight, you take it home, and it's not what I promised, or you just don't like it, or whatever it is, just send it back to me within 30 days, and I'll gladly refund your money in the state currencies. So you have two options. You can buy my course and learn how to protect your family's assets, make more money on each deal with my help, or you can ignore my advice and hope that nothing happens. Hope doesn't take you very far, does it? If you want to, I will autograph your book. That's got to increase the value. Maybe not now, but when I pass that great trust in the sky, pass the great trust in the sky, it might be a benefit to you. If you guys would open that up, I've got some forms in there to pass out to everybody. One other thing I want to mention to you. This is a book I wrote called Privacy and Asset Protection. It took me 25 years to research this. It took me 93 hours to write it the first time. This is the third version. It doesn't talk about trust. It just talks about other ways of protecting your assets. Everybody who gets my home study course tonight gets a free copy of this, an electronic copy, because it's in the Land Trust University. I do happen to have 3 hard copy versions. So the first 3 people that get the home study course can take a hard copy home with them tonight. And I'll autograph it if you want me to. Otherwise, you'll get an electronic version. Okay? Any questions about that? Any questions overall yet? Did you find the forms?
Yeah.
They're in the bag. Yeah, open that up. Those forms are on top. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, thank you. So Sasha's here, hot off the press from the airport. She's going to give you a form. If you'll fill that out, and oh, thank you very much. And I'll get a copy of the free booklet to everybody tomorrow on the airplane or whatever. You fill that out, take it back to Sasha at the back table. She'll give you the home study course. And like I said, the first 3 people that do it will get a privacy and asset protection book, hard copy. Other than that, we'll give you the electronic version. And I'll stay after. Does anybody have any final questions for us? You can, if you want to, you can have a board of directors or a board of trustees. If you don't have somebody you trust, you can get 2 or 3 people to be trustees, have 3 trustees. Or you can appoint a director as well. It's underneath that pile on your left. Yeah, underneath your thing there, Sasha, is the iPad. Yes, sir. We got a question here.
Yeah. When I read in my LLC, I am a registered agent. Is that why I do that?
Not really. Well, but you said you formed it in Nevada, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Nevada does publish that, so people can look up who owns your LLC if they know about it. Now, if it's the beneficiary of the land trust, nobody knows about it. All right, so you've got some anonymity there. But if you really want anonymity, either have it formed in Wyoming where they don't publish that, or change to somebody else as your registered agent.
Change restoration. I mean, I just renewed that like last week, $150. So I made myself a registrator.
And did you do that to save money, or?
No, I mean, I've always been a registrator.
Oh, you've always been a registrator?
It's an annual renewal fee.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just renewed it last week. So I guess next round I don't do.
Next round, get somebody else. Or... Okay, any questions up here? Share it with the community. You want to get like the new package as quick as you can. That way you got it all. If you're sharing. Yeah. It's just as far as the membership goes, the free membership, I can get both of you, the land trust. Yeah.
Good. Lord, how you doing? Okay.
Just make sure you give me Thanks for all the good questions you had, too. Yeah. You're a shaker.
I'm trying. I'm going to try. I ain't making no noise yet, but I'm going to try.
All right.
How you doing? It's good.
Yeah, like I said, it's 30 days.
Randy, can't do it right
Yeah, whenever. Just have you started the membership?
Not quite honestly, I've been going there. Okay, Christina's for it. Okay, well, I'll be part of that.
Whenever you're ready, that 6-month membership will start. Okay. You don't have to start it today. If you want to wait a month and start it, you can start it today.
Okay, so activate. Alright, because I already have the course. Yeah.
Yes, you're good to go.
Alright, thank you.
I was interested. What do you mean by you can wait till next month or something?
Well, yeah, that 6-month membership can start 6 months from now if you want it to. It's just that you get it for free tonight if you buy the course tonight. You don't have to start it tonight. You can start it 6 months from now. If you got something in the meantime, or you're just too busy, you don't want to do it.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Now, with the credit card information put down here, why would you run the credit card?
She run it right away. Right away, we run it. Yeah. But I mean, if you wanted to, you want me to hold it for a week or something? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
2 days or something.
What, 2 days? However you want me to hold it. I trust you.
Yeah, if you could do it a week, that'd be good.
So a week from today will be next week. Yeah, just fill out the form and write on it.
I am very interested in it.
Yeah, that way you get the deal. Fill out the form and write on there.
There's a couple that wants the basic regs, so they want but you're getting rid of the old ones, right, that have the discs?
Yeah, but I do have 2 of these.
Can they have the discs and the one with the USB?
No, because that's 2 courses.
Right.
They got to pick one or the other.
Okay.
Once you take that, it's case
No, I already got it, because there's already 2. Are you doing 3? You told the first 3?
I took the first 3. So yeah, just write it down and then put a note down at the bottom. Don't charge my credit card until whatever, the 22nd or whatever that is.
21st.
If you sit down and fill it out, I'm going to give you, before she comes and grabs it, I'm going to give you this, because this is my hot off the press with the key in the back. The other ones have CDs and DVDs. We're using up the old inventory. Okay?
I'm not going to get the full. Can't do the full.
No, just the basic. This is just the basic.
Okay.
So just do the basic. Okay?
Are you regular here? Mike Green is usually here. Mike Green is usually here. I don't know where he was tonight. But it is a
Make them hungry for what
You got a lock on the house, so you need your place. We need to catch up. You just leaving me in the dust right now, so I gotta try to get on your way. Handyman stuff. Let us know. We really want to.
Okay, just to be sure. Yeah. 032. Where'd you say, big guy?
Bobby Wallace, Charleston, South Carolina. Just enjoyed it.
Thank you. Would you like me to come speak to your club?
Oh, I would love it.
well, right now we're
Let's talk some after you get back in and everything and see after the first of the year. We're struggling now. We need to find a hotel or something we can meet at. I talked to Bob a little bit on the way today. I called today and told him I was coming, and We've been meeting in the back of a restaurant. It's got a meeting room about this big, but it's just not suitable.
Okay. Well, about how many people do you have attending?
Right now, about the same size as here. That's 55 in here.
That's good. That's good enough. Call me and we'll get something scheduled. February, March looks good. First quarter.
Charleston may be as easy to fly into as here.
Well, I'm going to be in Savannah, I think, early February.
Really?
It'd be really nice if I could just jump on over.
So, do you do like a weekend workshop or what?
I can stay and do a one-day training, yes.
Do you like those? Or?
I love them, yeah. People tend to buy more at the workshop than they do at the meeting because I give them a whole day's training. So, yeah, I'd be glad to stay for a Saturday. When are your meetings?
Thursday.
Perfect. I'll just stay over until Saturday.
I'll get to see some of Charleston.
Okay. You get my business card from Sasha?
I'll give it.
Okay. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
All right. You got it? So we want to check.
I just wanted to thank you. Great job.
Hey, no, I appreciate the comment. It was good to have a local flavor of the stuff going on.
There's a little different in South Carolina, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're different everywhere, but thanks a lot.
And I will say one little pointer, I don't know where else this applies, but if you don't put the word trustee after the guy's name, it's in the guy's name.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, you got to put that.
We have our Supreme Court is real technical and a lot of stupid things that are just irrational. So
well, that makes sense. I think that's logical.
Yeah.
Thanks again. There you go. And I will be, after I run this next week, I'll send you an email to get you a username and password for the land trust. Okay? All right, good deal. Thank you, sir.
Sorry to hear about your wife.
How you doing?
I've never seen a more polished presentation.
Well, thank you.
And all that stress about the luggage not being here, you didn't even let people know from inside you were just shooting a brick.
I was shooting a brick, and she came in at the last second possible.
Well, it's hard to sell something on the screen. People need to touch it, even in the internet.
You're right. They got to have a hard copy, or they don't buy. So her timing was perfect. She did a good job.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Good. I hope you learned something.
I probably should put on my personal stuff. I only got one house. And I sold the 2 rentals I had here. I sold all my money to the house, and it's all tied up through asset protection and things like that.
But yeah, if you got one house, you probably ought to stick it into it.
And my favorite thing is I started out with nothing, and I got most of it left. You've heard that before, I'm sure.
I like that. Yeah. Started out with nothing. I got most of it left. I like
If you're
that.
flying back to Chicago at ORD, I'm sorry.
Actually, no. We fly to Charlotte, and then there's a direct flight from Charlotte to Champaign.
Really?
Yeah, so we skip over.
My favorite is Midway.
I just can't find flights out of Midway to make it work.
No, I'm talking about from a thrill seeker.
Oh, yeah.
When they turn the final, you can see the writing on the tire.
Isn't that cool? I just
Well, Bobo,
hey, how you doing?
are you planning to visit on the 27th out in Greens and Garden?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, absolutely. Certainly be a wonderful night.
I don't want to miss that.
As you know, the meeting over there is mostly 95% new people that never do anything, but still, well, you learn something.
Yeah, we're not really
That's all I'm really saying. It's a test to see at what point are you going to tap out. I don't either. And I had a misunderstanding online, like, so, Valerie that I work with in the Armstrong property, she spoke to him and agreed that, he could work with us on that deal. I'm scrolling through REIA Live, he got property for sale, contact me for information with my flying and my Brenda, I had no idea who he was, bro. I put him on blast, He said, contact me if you got questions. Brandon, he had his information. But you can imagine where I was coming from, right? I put on the girl, I was like, wow, do you typically go around pros for the properties you don't have under contract as your own? He was like, wait a minute. I'm like, no, everybody needs to see us, right? Like, I'm trying to warn y'all. So we got it cleared up, and he was working with Valerie, because Valerie mentioned it to me, but I honestly he was a cash buyer.
Oh, here, let me shut this off.
As a cash buyer.